Welcome to Stand By for Shadows, the mystery of the forgotten signal by the Glitch Bureau. This book covers introduced protagonist Jack Harlan, a sharp-witted radio operator and amateur sleuth in a bustling 1930 coastal city. Late one stormy night in 1930, he picks up a faint, cryptic Morse code message. Stand by. Shadows rise. The fourth key unlocks doom. Chapter 1, The Midnight Transmission. In the heart of a bustling 1930s coastal city, Jack Harlan leaned closer to his radio, the storm outside echoing his own curiosity. The static crackled ominously, then a faint Morse code message emerged. Stand by, shadows rise, the fourth key unlocks doom. Jack's mind raced. What secrets lay within these cryptic words? Driven by instinct and a thirst for mystery, Jack traced the signal to the city's edge, where an abandoned lighthouse stood as a silent sentinel against the raging sea. The wind howled as he climbed the creaky stairs, each step echoing with the promise of discovery. At the top, he found fresh footprints and a hidden transmitter, evidence of recent activity. Suddenly, a masked figure loomed in the shadows. Jack's heart pounded as he narrowly dodged, adrenaline propelling him down the stairs and out into the storm. The figure vanished into the night, leaving behind a torn map fragment. Its edges were worn, hinting at a long-lost treasure tied to a notorious 1920s smuggling ring. The reality is, Jack's encounter with the mysterious transmission was just the beginning. This map fragment, with its promise of buried secrets, ignited a journey fraught with danger and intrigue. Jack knew that the shadows were rising, and with them, the stakes of his newfound adventure. As the lighthouse's beam cut through the storm, Jack resolved to uncover the truth, no matter where it led. The storm raged outside, a symphony of howling winds and relentless rain that battered the windows of the small radio station nestled in the heart of the bustling coastal city. Inside, Jack Harlan was in his element. The year was 1930, and the world was on the brink of technological marvels. But for Jack, the magic lay in the gentle hum of radio waves and the secrets they carried. Jack was a man of keen intellect and an insatiable curiosity. His reputation as a sharp-witted radio operator and amateur sleuth had earned him respect in the community, and it was this blend of charm, resourcefulness, and an unyielding sense of justice that defined his character. He was hunched over his equipment, fingers deftly adjusting knobs and dials, ears attuned to the static-filled airwaves. This was Jack's domain, a place where the whispers of the world converged and revealed their mysteries to those who knew how to listen. On this stormy night, the atmosphere inside the station was tense, mirroring the brewing mystery outside. Suddenly, amidst the crackle of static, Jack intercepted a faint, cryptic Morse code message. Stand by. Shadows rise. The fourth key unlocks doom. The message was both intriguing and unsettling, hinting at a conspiracy lurking in the shadows of the city. Jack's mind raced as he deciphered the code, piecing together the fragments of a larger puzzle. Driven by a mix of curiosity and a sense of duty, Jack decided to trace the origin of the signal. His investigation led him to an abandoned lighthouse on the outskirts of the city, a relic of a bygone era standing against the stormy backdrop. The lighthouse, with its towering presence and eerie silence, set the stage for the mystery to unfold. Inside, the air was thick with the smell of salt and decay. Jack's footsteps echoed in the cavernous space as he moved cautiously, his eyes scanning for any sign of recent activity. It wasn't long before he discovered fresh footprints in the dust, a sign that he was not alone. His heart pounded as he explored further, finding a hidden transmitter cleverly concealed among the debris. The discovery confirmed his suspicion. A clandestine operation was afoot. As Jack examined the transmitter, he sensed a presence. A masked figure emerged from the shadows, and a tense encounter ensued. Jack's quick thinking and agility allowed him to narrowly escape, but not before he discovered a torn map fragment. This fragment hinted at a long-lost treasure associated with a forgotten 1920s smuggling ring, adding another layer to the mystery. Returning to his station, the storm still raging outside, Jack reflected on the night's events. His mind was a swirl of questions and possibilities. The encounter had set the stage for a thrilling adventure, one that would test Jack's skills and resolve. The emotional journey began here, with Jack's curiosity ignited and a sense of impending danger looming. The foundation was laid for a narrative filled with intrigue, danger, and the promise of uncovering hidden truths. Jack's character was not just defined by his intellect and curiosity, but also by his unyielding sense of justice. In a world where shadows often obscured the truth, Jack was a beacon of light, driven by a desire to uncover what lay hidden. His natural aptitude for radio technology was not just a skill, but a passion, a tool he wielded with precision and purpose. In the days that followed, Jack's mind remained fixated on the cryptic message and the mystery it represented. He knew that the key to unraveling the conspiracy lay in understanding the significance of the fourth key and the shadows that were rising. The torn map fragment was a tantalizing clue, hinting at a treasure that was more than just material wealth. It was a piece of history, a link to a past shrouded in secrecy. Jack's investigation led him to delve deeper into the city's underbelly, a world of forgotten secrets and hidden alliances. He knew that to solve the mystery, he would need to navigate this world with care, using his wits and charm to gather information and form alliances. The stakes were high, and the danger was real, but Jack was undeterred. As he pieced together the fragments of the puzzle, Jack found himself drawn into a web of intrigue that spanned the city's history. He uncovered tales of a smuggling ring that had operated during the Prohibition era, a network of criminals who had used the city's coastal location to their advantage. The treasure they sought was more than just gold and artifacts. It was a symbol of power, a prize that could tip the balance in the city's criminal underworld. Jack's journey was not just about uncovering the truth, but also about confronting his own past. As he delved deeper into the mystery, he found himself reflecting on his own motivations and the choices that had led him to this point. It was a journey of self-discovery, one that would test his resolve and challenge his beliefs. The chapter concluded with Jack standing at the threshold of a new adventure, his mind racing with possibilities and his heart filled with determination. The storm outside had subsided, but the storm within was just beginning. Jack knew that the path ahead would be fraught with danger, but he was ready. With the cryptic message as his guide and the map fragment as his compass, he was prepared to face whatever lay ahead. This subchapter was essential, as it not only introduced Jack Harlan, establishing his character and motivations, but also set the tone for the entire story. It seamlessly bridged into the broader narrative, ensuring a cohesive flow as Jack's adventure unfolded. The stage was set for a thrilling tale of mystery and intrigue, one that would captivate readers and keep them on the edge of their seats. The storm outside raged with an unrelenting fury, the wind howling through the narrow streets of the coastal city like a banshee in the night. Inside his modest radio room, Jack Harlan, a seasoned radio operator, sat surrounded by a clutter of equipment. The soft glow of dials cast long shadows across the walls, creating an atmosphere thick with anticipation and mystery. Jack's fingers moved deftly over the controls, adjusting frequencies with the ease of a maestro conducting a symphony. The crackling static of the storm was a constant companion, but Jack's ear was finely tuned to the subtle nuances of Morse code, a skill honed over years of practice. It was during one of these routine adjustments that he first intercepted the mysterious message that would set his adventure in motion. The transmission was faint, almost drowned out by the storm's fury, but there was something about it that caught Jack's attention. His instincts, sharp as ever, told him it was significant. The message was cryptic. Stand by, shadows rise, the fourth key unlocks doom. A chill ran down his spine as he deciphered the code, the words hinting at hidden dangers and secrets yet to be uncovered. Driven by a mix of curiosity and a sense of foreboding, Jack began to trace the origin of the signal. His fingers danced over the dials with practiced precision, each adjustment bringing him closer to the source. As he worked, his thoughts drifted to his past, revealing his background as an amateur sleuth and his unyielding determination to uncover the truth. The storm outside intensified, the wind lashing against the windows as if trying to penetrate the sanctuary of the radio room. The brewing tension mirrored the storm within Jack, a storm of thoughts and possibilities. As he narrowed down the source of the transmission, he made a decision that would change the course of his life. Clad in a heavy coat and hat, Jack braved the elements, his footsteps echoing against the cobblestones as he made his way toward the abandoned lighthouse. The lighthouse stood as a relic of the past, a sentinel against the tumultuous sea, its presence both foreboding and inviting. Upon reaching the lighthouse, Jack's senses were on high alert. The atmosphere was eerie, with the wind whipping around him and the sound of waves crashing against the rocks below. Inside, the lighthouse was dark and foreboding, each creak of the floorboards amplifying the tension in the air. As Jack explored the lighthouse, he discovered fresh footprints leading to a hidden transmitter, confirming his suspicion that he was not alone in his quest. The transmitter, hidden beneath a layer of dust and debris, was a relic of a bygone era, yet it hummed with a life of its own. His investigation was interrupted by the appearance of a masked figure lurking in the shadows. The confrontation was brief but intense, a dance of shadows and light, as Jack narrowly escaped. The encounter left him with more questions than answers, but also with a torn map fragment, a tantalizing clue hinting at a treasure linked to a forgotten smuggling ring from the 1920s. As Jack made his way back to the city, the cryptic Morse code message echoed in his thoughts. The night's events had set the stage for an unfolding mystery, blending intrigue, danger, and the promise of adventure. The storm had subsided, but the storm within Jack raged on, a storm of possibilities and the thrill of the chase. To put this in perspective, Jack's expertise as a radio operator and his keen sense of adventure had led him to this pivotal moment. His ability to decipher the cryptic message was not just a testament to his skills, but also to his unyielding determination to uncover the truth. This moment served to deepen the reader's understanding of Jack's character, showcasing his intelligence and resourcefulness. Experience indicates that the deciding factor in any investigation is the ability to follow the trail of clues, no matter how faint or cryptic they may be. Jack's journey had only just begun, and the cryptic Morse code message was the first piece of a much larger puzzle. In the world of shadows, the brave stand by, ready to face the unknown and uncover the secrets hidden within. Jack's journey was a testament to the power of curiosity and the thrill of the chase, a journey that would take him to the darkest corners of the city and beyond. The storm may have subsided, but the mystery was only beginning to unfold. The cryptic Morse code message was a beacon guiding Jack through the shadows and into the light of discovery. With each step, he moved closer to the truth, driven by a desire to uncover the secrets hidden within the shadows. This strategy proves effective in engaging readers, drawing them into the world of mystery and adventure. The cryptic Morse code message served as a catalyst, setting the stage for a thrilling journey filled with danger and intrigue. As Jack continued his quest, the promise of adventure loomed large, a testament to the power of curiosity and the thrill of the chase. In conclusion, Jack's journey was a testament to the power of curiosity and the thrill of the chase. The cryptic Morse code message was the first step in a much larger adventure, a journey that would take him to the darkest corners of the city and beyond. With each step, Jack moved closer to the truth, driven by a desire to uncover the secrets hidden within the shadows. The storm may have subsided, but the mystery was only beginning to unfold. The cryptic Morse code message was a beacon, guiding Jack through the shadows and into the light of discovery. With each step, he moved closer to the truth, driven by a desire to uncover the secrets hidden within the shadows. In the world of shadows, the brave stand by, ready to face the unknown and uncover the secrets hidden within. Jack's journey was a testament to the power of curiosity and the thrill of the chase, a journey that would take him to the darkest corners of the city and beyond. Jack Harlan stood at the edge of the bustling coastal city, the relentless wind of the 1930s storm whipping around him with a ferocity that matched the turmoil in his mind. He was a man of precision, a radio operator who thrived on the clarity of signals and the certainty of codes. Yet tonight, he was ensnared in a mystery as thick as the fog rolling in from the sea. The stormy night had brought with it more than just rain. It had delivered a cryptic Morse code message that now echoed in his thoughts. Stand by, shadows rise, the fourth key unlocks doom. The signal had been faint, almost drowned by the storm's fury, but unmistakably urgent. Intrigued and sensing something sinister, Jack had traced the transmission to an abandoned lighthouse, a relic of a bygone era standing defiantly against the elements. The lighthouse loomed ahead, its silhouette stark against the darkened sky, a silent sentinel over the crashing waves. As Jack approached, the wind carried the scent of salt and seaweed, mingling with the metallic tang of the storm. He could feel the ground beneath him, slick with rain and treacherous underfoot, as he navigated the rocky path leading to the lighthouse door. It creaked open with a reluctant groan, revealing a shadowy interior that seemed to hold its breath, waiting. Inside, the air was thick with the scent of damp stone and rusted metal. Jack's flashlight beam cut through the gloom, illuminating the spiral staircase that wound its way upwards. He took a deep breath, the sound of the storm muffled within the thick walls, and began his ascent. Each step echoed in the confined space, a steady rhythm that matched the pounding of his heart. At the top, the lantern room was empty, its glass panes rattling in the wind. But Jack was not alone. Fresh footprints marked the dusty floor, leading to a corner where a hidden transmitter lay, its presence both unexpected and telling. Someone had been here recently and had left in a hurry. Jack's mind raced with possibilities, each one more dangerous than the last. Suddenly, a noise from below shattered the silence. Jack froze, his senses on high alert. The sound of footsteps, deliberate and heavy, echoed up the staircase. He extinguished his flashlight, plunging the room into darkness, and moved silently to the shadows. The footsteps grew louder, closer, until a figure appeared at the top of the stairs. Masked and menacing, the figure paused, scanning the room. Jack held his breath, his mind racing for an escape. The figure moved towards the transmitter, and in that moment, Jack saw his chance. He slipped past the intruder, his movements as silent as the shadows that cloaked him, and descended the stairs with practiced stealth. He reached the ground floor and darted outside, the storm welcoming him back with open arms. As he sprinted away from the lighthouse, his heart pounding in his chest, Jack's foot caught on something half buried in the mud. He stumbled, catching himself against a rock, and looked down to see a torn piece of paper. He snatched it up, the rain-soaked fragment revealing a map, its edges frayed and its markings cryptic. A map that hinted at a long-lost treasure tied to a 1920s smuggling ring that had once haunted these shores. Jack knew he was onto something big, something dangerous. The cryptic message, the hidden transmitter, the masked figure, and now this map fragment. Each piece was a part of a puzzle that promised both peril and possibility. He tucked the fragment into his pocket, the rain washing away the mud, but not the significance of his discovery. With a final glance at the lighthouse, its light extinguished and its secrets still shrouded, Jack turned back towards the city. The night was far from over, and the shadows were just beginning to rise. Back in his small, cluttered apartment, Jack spread the map fragment on his desk, its damp surface illuminated by the soft glow of a desk lamp. He studied the cryptic symbols and faded lines, his mind working to connect the dots. The message had mentioned the fourth key, a phrase that now seemed to taunt him with its ambiguity. What did it mean? How did it connect to the smuggling ring and the treasure it guarded? Jack's thoughts were interrupted by a knock at the door. He hesitated, his instincts warning him of potential danger. But when he opened the door, it was not a masked figure that greeted him, but Elena Voss, a fast-talking newspaper reporter with a reputation for uncovering the city's darkest secrets. Her eyes, sharp and inquisitive, met his with a knowing look. "I heard you picked up something interesting on the airwaves tonight," Elena said, stepping inside without waiting for an invitation. She glanced at the map on Jack's desk, her interest piqued. "Care to fill me in?" Jack nodded, recognizing in Elena a kindred spirit, someone who thrived on mystery and danger as much as he did. "It's a long story," he said, motioning for her to sit. "But it starts with a message and ends with a map." As he recounted the night's events, Elena listened intently, her mind already racing ahead, piecing together the implications of Jack's discovery. Together, they formed a plan. The message's origin needed to be traced, the meaning of the fourth key uncovered, and the masked figure's identity revealed. It was a dangerous game they were entering, but neither Jack nor Elena was one to shy away from a challenge. As they pored over the map and discussed their next steps, The storm outside began to abate, leaving behind a city washed clean by the rain, but still shrouded in shadows. The night wore on, and as the first light of dawn began to creep over the horizon, Jack and Elena knew they were on the brink of something monumental. The lighthouse had offered them a glimpse into a world of intrigue and danger, a world where shadows rose and secrets lay buried beneath the waves. They were ready to dive deeper, to uncover the truth behind the signal that had set them on this path. The lighthouse discovery was just the beginning, and the adventure that awaited them promised to be as thrilling as it was perilous. Jack Harlan sat in the dim glow of his radio room, the rhythmic tapping of rain against the window matching the erratic beat of his heart. The storm outside was fierce, a fitting backdrop to the turmoil brewing inside him. Moments ago, he had intercepted a cryptic Morse code message that had set his mind racing. Stand by. Shadows rise. The fourth key unlocks doom. The signal had been faint, but its implications were anything but. Driven by curiosity and a sense of impending danger, Jack knew he couldn't ignore the message. His instincts told him that the source was nearby, possibly within the labyrinthine alleys of the coastal city he called home. With determination etched on his face, he donned his coat and stepped into the stormy night, the rain immediately soaking through his clothes. The streets were slick and treacherous, but Jack's resolve was unwavering. He navigated the winding paths with the precision of a seasoned sleuth, each step bringing him closer to the abandoned lighthouse that loomed against the stormy sky. The lighthouse, a relic of a bygone era, stood as a silent sentinel on the edge of the city, its presence both ominous and inviting. As Jack approached, the lighthouse's towering silhouette was illuminated sporadically by flashes of lightning. He paused at the entrance, taking a moment to steady his breath. The air was thick with the scent of salt and decay, a reminder of the lighthouse's long-neglected state. Inside, the sound of crashing waves echoed ominously, a constant reminder of the storm raging outside. Jack's senses were heightened as he stepped inside, his flashlight cutting through the darkness. The beam danced across the walls, revealing the peeling paint and cobwebs that adorned the interior. His heart skipped a beat when he noticed fresh footprints in the dust, leading deeper into the lighthouse. He wasn't alone. The tension was palpable as Jack followed the trail, each step echoing in the cavernous space. His flashlight flickered, casting erratic shadows that seemed to dance with a life of their own. It wasn't long before he stumbled upon a hidden transmitter, its presence confirming his suspicions of recent activity. The air was electric with the possibility of uncovering a mystery, but Jack's instincts warned him of danger lurking in the shadows. Suddenly, a figure emerged from the darkness, a masked figure whose identity was concealed, their intentions unknown. The confrontation was immediate and tense, each movement calculated, each escape a testament to Jack's resourcefulness. The masked figure, shrouded in mystery, seemed to embody the very shadows mentioned in the cryptic message. Jack's quick thinking and agility were put to the test as he narrowly dodged the figure's attempts to subdue him. The encounter was a dance of shadows and light, the storm outside providing a dramatic backdrop to their struggle. In the chaos, Jack managed to grab a torn map fragment from the masked figure's grip, a clue that hinted at a long-lost treasure tied to a forgotten 1920s smuggling ring. The fragment was a tantalizing piece of a larger puzzle, its edges frayed, its surface marked with cryptic symbols. The masked figure, realizing their advantage was lost, retreated into the shadows, vanishing as quickly as they had appeared. Jack's heart raced as he made his escape, the lighthouse's oppressive atmosphere giving way to the storm's fury outside. His mind was a whirlwind of questions. Who was the masked figure? What was the significance of the map fragment? And how did it connect to the cryptic message he had received? As Jack navigated the rain-soaked streets back to his radio room, his thoughts were consumed by the encounter. The map fragment he clutched was more than just a piece of paper. It was a key to a mystery that had been buried for decades. The implications were staggering, the possibilities endless. Back in the safety of his radio room, Jack laid the map fragment on the table, studying its cryptic symbols with renewed determination. The storm outside had begun to wane, but the storm within him was just beginning. He knew that this was only the start of a much larger adventure, one that would test his wits and push him to the limits. As he pieced together the night's events, Jack couldn't help but feel a sense of urgency. The masked figure's appearance was no coincidence, and the cryptic message was more than just a warning. It was an invitation to uncover a truth long hidden in the shadows. The adventure ahead was daunting, but Jack was ready to face it head-on. The subchapter concluded with Jack's resolve firmly in place. The mysteries of the night had set the stage for an adventure that promised danger, intrigue, and the possibility of uncovering a long-lost treasure. As he prepared for the journey ahead, Jack knew that he wouldn't rest until he had unraveled the secrets of the masked figure and the cryptic message. His journey was only beginning, but the encounter at the lighthouse had ignited a fire within him. The masked figure's presence was a reminder that the shadows held secrets waiting to be uncovered, and Jack Harlan was determined to bring them to light. The story was far from over, and the next chapter promised even greater challenges and revelations. Chapter 2, The Shadowy Alliance. The fog hung thick over the docks, a shroud that seemed to whisper secrets of its own. Jack Harlan adjusted his collar against the damp chill, his eyes scanning the murky shadows. Beside him, Elena Voss, her notepad tucked under one arm, exuded determination. "This is where the trail leads," she said, her voice cutting through the mist like a beacon. Their investigation had been relentless, each clue a stepping stone deeper into a world of deception. The cryptic message Jack intercepted was more than just a mystery. It was a lifeline to untangling a web of crime. Together, they had uncovered a criminal syndicate masquerading as a legitimate shipping company. The key to their operation lay hidden in a secret ledger, with the fourth key pointing to a crucial chapter. As they pieced together the puzzle, suspicious figures emerged. There was the shipping magnate, whose charm masked a ruthless ambition, the jittery inventor, always glancing over his shoulder, and the silent enforcer, his presence a constant, looming threat. Each encounter added layers to the mystery, drawing Jack and Elena into a dangerous game. The tension reached a crescendo as they navigated the foggy docks, their footsteps echoing in the silence. Suddenly, the roar of an engine shattered the calm. A car sped towards them, headlights piercing the gloom. With adrenaline surging, they dove aside, narrowly escaping the vehicle's path. Breathless and shaken, Jack and Elena knew they were getting too close to the truth. Their narrow escape only fueled their resolve, each step bringing them closer to unveiling the syndicate's secrets. In the world of shadows, they had become the light, determined to bring justice to the fore. The cafe buzzed with the lively hum of conversations and the rich aroma of freshly brewed coffee. Jack Harlan sat at a corner table, his mind still reeling from the events at the abandoned lighthouse. The torn map fragment lay on the table before him, a puzzle piece in a game he barely understood. He knew he needed help, someone with the skills to navigate the labyrinth of the city's underworld and decipher the cryptic Morse code message. Enter Elena Voss, a name whispered among the city's newsrooms with equal parts respect and caution. Known for her relentless pursuit of truth, Elena was a force to be reckoned with. Jack watched as she approached, her presence commanding attention even in the bustling cafe. She slid into the seat opposite him, her eyes sharp and inquisitive. "Jack Harlan," she began, her voice a blend of curiosity and challenge. "I've been following your story." Their meeting was serendipitous, yet charged with a tension that hinted at the stakes involved. Elena had been chasing the same thread, her investigations leading her to a series of coded articles in the newspaper. These articles, she revealed, were breadcrumbs left by a larger conspiracy, one that reached into the heart of the city's criminal syndicate. The chemistry between Jack and Elena was undeniable, a synergy born from necessity and mutual respect. Jack's technical expertise as a radio operator and Elena's investigative instincts created a formidable alliance. They quickly realized that their paths were intertwined, their skills complementary in the face of the challenges ahead. As they exchanged information, Jack shared the torn map fragment, its edges frayed and its significance elusive. Elena, in turn, revealed her knowledge of the city's criminal syndicate, a shadowy organization operating under the guise of a reputable shipping company. Her insights painted a picture of a syndicate that was both powerful and elusive, its operations hidden behind layers of respectability. The conversation flowed, each revelation building on the last. The core principle was clear. To unravel the mystery, they needed to trust each other, a task easier said than done in a world where betrayal lurked around every corner. As they delved deeper into their investigation, Jack and Elena found themselves navigating a landscape fraught with danger and suspicion. The city's underworld was a murky sea, populated by characters whose intentions were as opaque as the fog that often blanketed the docks. Among these characters was a suave shipping magnate, his charm a veneer for the deception that lay beneath. Then there was the nervous inventor, a man whose jittery demeanor hinted at secrets that could tip the balance of their investigation. And looming in the background was a silent enforcer, his presence an ominous reminder of the stakes involved. The investigation took them to the foggy docks, a place where shadows seemed to come alive, and danger was a constant companion. It was here, amid the creaking of ships and the whisper of the tide, that they encountered their first major obstacle, a speeding car, its driver unknown, its intent clear. The chase that ensued was a heart-pounding sequence, a dance of survival as Jack and Elena narrowly escaped their pursuer. The fog closed in around them, a shroud that both concealed and threatened. Yet, in that moment of peril, their bond was solidified, a testament to the trust that had begun to grow between them. Key revelations emerged as their investigation progressed. The fourth key they discovered was not a physical object, but a reference to Chapter 4 of a secret ledger used by the syndicate. This discovery was a turning point, a clue that propelled them further into the heart of the conspiracy. In practice, this meant piecing together the fragments of a story that spanned decades, from the forgotten smuggling rings of the 1920s to the present-day machinations of the syndicate. The stakes were high, the risks even higher, but the promise of truth was a beacon that guided their steps. The narrative crescendoed with a tense sequence at the docks, the air thick with tension and the threat of violence. Jack and Elena's escape from the speeding car was a narrow one, a reminder of the dangers that lay in wait. Yet it was also a moment of triumph, a testament to their growing partnership and the trust that underpinned it. As the subchapter drew to a close, the foundation was laid for the unfolding mystery. Elena Voss, with her sharp mind and unyielding determination, was established as a pivotal character, her role essential to the narrative's progression. Together, she and Jack formed a team that was not only capable, but necessary for the challenges ahead. The story of Jack and Elena was one of teamwork and trust, a journey through the shadows in pursuit of truth. Their partnership was a beacon in the darkness, a testament to the power of collaboration in the face of adversity. By the end of the subchapter, readers were left eager to follow Jack and Elena on their perilous journey, anticipating the unraveling of the syndicate's secrets and the ultimate revelation of the forgotten signal's meaning. The stage was set, the players in place, and the mystery awaited its resolution. The fog hung thick over the docks, a ghostly shroud that seemed to swallow the world whole. Jack Harlan and Elena Voss stood side by side, their breaths visible in the chilly night air. The sound of waves lapping against the boats was a constant backdrop, a reminder of the ocean's proximity. It was here, amidst the creaking of wooden planks and the distant calls of seabirds, that they hoped to uncover the secrets of the syndicate. The duo had spent hours poring over the cryptic Morse code message, convinced it was a key to unraveling a larger conspiracy. Jack, with his sharp mind, honed by years as a radio operator, had pieced together fragments of the message, while Elena's tenacity as a reporter pushed them to dig deeper. The docks were alive with activity, despite the late hour, and they knew this was the heart of the syndicate's operations. "Look over there," Elena whispered, nodding towards a group of men unloading crates from a ship. Their movements were hurried, almost furtive, as if they were aware of unseen eyes watching them. Jack squinted through the fog, his instincts telling him that these were no ordinary dock workers. They followed the men discreetly, keeping to the shadows, their footsteps muffled by the thick mist. The trail led them to a nondescript warehouse, its exterior as unremarkable as any other along the waterfront. But as they approached, Jack noticed something peculiar. a series of Morse code signals being tapped out from within. "This is it," he murmured, his heart quickening with a mix of excitement and apprehension. The message was coming from here. With a nod from Elena, they slipped inside, careful to avoid detection. The interior of the warehouse was dimly lit, the air filled with the smell of salt and oil. They moved silently through the aisles of crates, their eyes scanning for any sign of the syndicate's operations. It wasn't long before they stumbled upon a hidden passageway, cleverly concealed behind a stack of barrels. The passage led them to a secretive backroom operation, where the true nature of the syndicate's activities was revealed. A ledger lay open on a table, its pages filled with coded entries and references to the fourth key. Jack and Elena exchanged a glance, their suspicions confirmed. This was no simple smuggling operation. It was a well-organized criminal enterprise, with connections that reached far beyond the coastal city. As they examined the ledger, the tension in the room seemed to thicken. They were not alone. Jack's instincts screamed at him, and he turned just in time to see a shadowy figure watching them from the doorway. Without a word, he grabbed Elena's hand, and they bolted into the labyrinthine corridors of the warehouse. The chase was on. They navigated the twisting paths with quick thinking and sheer determination, their hearts pounding as they evaded capture. The fog outside provided cover, but it also hid their pursuers, making every shadow a potential threat. It was a test of their resolve, and as they darted through the maze of crates, they learned to trust each other's instincts implicitly. In the chaos, they encountered a nervous inventor, his eyes darting around as if expecting danger at every turn. His jittery demeanor and cryptic warnings hinted at a deeper involvement with the syndicate. "They're using new radio technologies," he whispered urgently, "to communicate without detection." This revelation added a new layer to the mystery. The syndicate's reach extended into the world of technological innovation, a chilling thought that suggested they were leveraging cutting-edge advancements for nefarious purposes. It was a connection that neither Jack nor Elena had anticipated, and it made their mission all the more urgent. Back in the safety of their hideout, Jack and Elena pored over the ledger once more. The breakthrough came when they decoded a crucial part of the entries, realizing that the fourth key was not a chapter, but a specific radio frequency used to communicate clandestine messages. This was the leverage they needed to turn the tide against the syndicate, but their victory was short-lived. As they prepared to leave, the roar of an engine shattered the night. A car sped towards them, headlights piercing the fog like daggers. The syndicate was making its move, determined to silence them permanently. With adrenaline coursing through their veins, Jack and Elena sprinted for cover, narrowly escaping the vehicle's path. Their harrowing escape through the foggy docks left them breathless, but more determined than ever. Each near miss only fueled their resolve, strengthening the bond between them. They knew that the syndicate would stop at nothing to protect its secrets, but they were equally committed to bringing the shadowy figures to justice. As dawn approached, they found themselves huddled in a small cafe, the first rays of sunlight breaking through the fog. The urgency of their mission was clear, and they knew the time had come to confront the syndicate head-on. The discovery of the radio frequency was a turning point, a chance to unravel the conspiracy and expose those pulling the strings. The chapter closed with a sense of anticipation, the stakes higher than ever. Jack and Elena were on the brink of uncovering the full extent of the conspiracy, their partnership forged in the fires of danger and uncertainty. The mystery was far from solved, but they were ready to face whatever lay ahead. Driven by the knowledge that the truth was within their grasp, the fog hung thick over the docks, a ghostly shroud that turned the world into a shadowy, distorted echo of itself. Jack Harlan and Elena Voss moved cautiously through this murky realm, their footsteps muffled by the damp air. The coastal city's docklands were a place where secrets thrived, where the mist seemed to whisper tales of long-lost cargo and hidden treasures. Tonight, the docks were more than just a backdrop. They were a labyrinth of danger and intrigue. Jack and Elena had followed a lead that promised to unravel the mystery of the syndicate's plans. Clutched in Jack's hand was a ledger, a seemingly innocuous book that hinted at the fourth key, a term that had become central to their investigation. The ledger was more than a record. It was a map to the syndicate's operations, a guide through the tangled web of deceit that threatened to ensnare them both. As they navigated the docks, the atmosphere was tense and foreboding. The fog rolled in thick waves, muffling sounds and distorting shapes, creating an eerie, disorienting environment. Jack and Elena moved cautiously, aware that they were being watched. The docks, with their towering cranes and stacked shipping containers, became a maze that they must navigate to reach their destination. "Stay close," Jack whispered, his voice barely audible over the gentle lapping of the water against the pier. Elena nodded, her eyes scanning the shadows for any sign of movement. Her instincts as a reporter were on high alert, sensing the story that lay hidden in the mist. Their investigation was interrupted by the appearance of suspicious figures, henchmen of the syndicate, intent on ensuring Jack and Elena did not leave the docks alive. A thrilling chase ensued, with Jack and Elena dodging through narrow alleyways and leaping over obstacles, their breath visible in the cold, damp air. The fog added an element of unpredictability, as figures loomed suddenly out of the mist, only to vanish again. "This way," Jack urged, leading Elena down a narrow passage between two rows of stacked containers. The passage was barely wide enough for them to squeeze through, but it offered a temporary refuge from their pursuers. As they ran, Jack and Elena exchanged quick, urgent dialogue, their partnership dynamic and electric. Elena's journalistic instincts and quick thinking complemented Jack's analytical mind and knowledge of the dock's layout. Together, they must outwit their pursuers, using the environment to their advantage. Jack's past experiences as a radio operator came into play as he guided them towards a hidden path that led to an old radio shack he once used. "We need to get to the shack," Jack said, his voice steady despite the urgency of their situation. "I can send a signal for help." Elena nodded, her mind racing with possibilities. "And the ledger?" she asked, glancing at the book in Jack's hand. "We'll figure it out once we're safe," Jack replied, his gaze fixed on the path ahead. The climax of the subchapter occurred when Jack and Elena found themselves cornered on a narrow pier, the water lapping ominously at its edges. With no other options, Jack used a flare gun to signal for help, the bright light cutting through the fog and illuminating the scene in stark relief. The sound of approaching footsteps grew louder, and just as it seemed all hope was lost, the flare attracted the attention of a nearby patrol boat. In a dramatic turn, the boat's spotlight pierced the fog, and the henchmen scattered, unwilling to risk exposure. Jack and Elena seized the moment, making their escape in the confusion. As they regrouped, they realized that the fourth key might not just be a ledger entry, but a code hidden within the shipping records they've uncovered. "The ledger," Elena said breathlessly as they reached the safety of the patrol boat. "It's more than just numbers, isn't it?" Jack nodded, his mind already working through the possibilities. "It's a code," he confirmed, "a code that unlocks the next step in the syndicate's plan." This subchapter was essential as it heightened the stakes, showcased the growing bond between Jack and Elena, and advanced the plot by introducing new elements of the mystery. It maintained the storytelling tone, immersing readers in the suspenseful atmosphere of the foggy docks while setting the stage for the next thrilling chapter. As the patrol boat carried them away from the docks, Jack and Elena shared a moment of quiet reflection. The danger had not passed, but they had taken a crucial step forward in their investigation. The fourth key was no longer just a mystery. It was a tangible clue that promised to unlock the secrets of the syndicate's plans. "We're getting closer," Elena said, her voice filled with determination. Jack smiled, a rare moment of warmth in the midst of their perilous journey. "We are," he agreed, "and we're not stopping until we've uncovered the truth." With the foggy docks receding into the distance, Jack and Elena prepared for the challenges that lay ahead. The mystery of the fourth key was far from solved, but they were ready to face whatever came next, together. Chapter 3. Clues in the fog. The fog hung thick over the waterfront, muffling the sound of Jack and Elena's footsteps as they approached the magnate's warehouse. The air was damp and heavy, a perfect cover for their covert operation. As they slipped inside, the warehouse revealed its secrets slowly, like a reluctant storyteller. Stacks of crates lined the walls, but it was the cluttered desk in the corner that drew them in. There, beneath a flickering lamp, lay coded documents and sepia-toned photographs of a 1920s expedition. Each image seemed to whisper tales of adventure and danger, hinting at a history long buried beneath layers of time. Central to their discovery was a peculiar device, its dials and knobs reminiscent of an early radio direction finder. Jack's eyes widened with recognition. This was a tool that could lead them to the lost cargo of gold and artifacts, rumored to have sunk during Prohibition. Their investigation was abruptly interrupted by the sharp bark of a guard's voice. The ensuing chase across the rooftops was a blur of adrenaline and moonlit shadows. Jack and Elena's hearts pounded as they leaped from building to building, the fog wrapping around them like a living entity. As they caught their breath, the pieces of the puzzle began to fit together. The shadows were not just whispers of the past, but a real, tangible treasure. But before they could savor their revelation, the warehouse doors slammed shut. The hiss of gas filled the air, turning their triumph into a desperate race against time. Trapped and with options dwindling, their fate hung precariously in the balance. As the clock ticked past midnight, the coastal city lay shrouded in a thick, swirling fog that rolled in from the sea, muffling the sounds of distant waves crashing against the docks. Jack Harlan and Elena Voss moved like shadows through the mist, their footsteps barely audible on the cobblestone streets. The air was charged with anticipation and the unmistakable scent of salt and mystery. They were on the brink of discovery, and the stakes had never been higher. Jack, with his sharp instincts and a trusty set of lockpicks, led the way. His years as a radio operator had honed his senses, making him acutely aware of every creak and whisper in the night. Elena, ever the astute journalist, followed closely, her notebook ready to capture the secrets they were about to unveil. Their mission: to infiltrate the waterfront warehouse owned by the elusive shipping magnate, a man whose name was whispered in hushed tones among the city's underbelly. The warehouse loomed ahead, a massive silhouette against the fog-draped skyline. Its steel walls seemed to pulse with the secrets they concealed, and as Jack approached, a shiver of anticipation ran down his spine. With deft hands, he worked the lock, each click resonating in the silent night. The door yielded with a reluctant groan, and they slipped inside, the darkness swallowing them whole. Inside, the air was thick with the smell of old wood and forgotten tales. Their flashlights cut through the gloom, illuminating a labyrinth of crates and towering shelves. The atmosphere was oppressive, as if the very walls were holding their breath, waiting for the inevitable discovery. They moved cautiously, every step echoing in the cavernous space. As they ventured deeper, they stumbled upon a hidden office space, a relic of a bygone era. Dust motes danced in the beam of their flashlights, revealing a collection of coded documents and photographs. The images, yellowed with age, depicted a 1920s expedition, the faces of the explorers frozen in time, their stories untold. Elena's eyes sparkled with intrigue as she uncovered a peculiar device, a contraption resembling an early radio direction finder. Its purpose was a mystery, but its significance was undeniable. Suddenly, the silence was shattered by the sound of approaching footsteps. A guard, drawn by the faint light and rustling papers, was closing in. Jack and Elena exchanged a glance, a silent understanding passing between them. There was no time to lose. They retreated swiftly, the thrill of the chase propelling them through the maze of aisles and up a narrow staircase to the warehouse's upper levels. The rooftop stretched out before them, a precarious expanse of steel beams and shadowy walkways. The fog cloaked their movements, adding an extra layer of suspense to the heart-pounding pursuit. Elena's agility and Jack's quick thinking kept them one step ahead, but every leap and every narrow miss was a reminder of the danger they faced. In a fleeting moment of reprieve, they paused to catch their breath. The coded documents hinted at a legendary lost cargo of gold and artifacts, treasures sunk during the Prohibition era, a potential key to unraveling the syndicate's plot. The realization hit them with the force of a tidal wave. This was bigger than they had imagined, and the implications were staggering. Their respite was short-lived. The sound of more footsteps echoed through the fog, and they found themselves cornered in a storage room. The air grew heavy, and a sinister hissing sound filled the space, the unmistakable sign of gas being pumped in. Panic threatened to overtake them, but Jack's mind raced, searching for a way out. With the walls closing in, Jack's gaze fell on a ventilation grate high above. It was a risky move, but it was their only chance. He quickly formulated a plan, sharing it with Elena in hushed tones. They had to act fast. Boosting Elena up, Jack followed, their movements swift and precise. The grate gave way, and they climbed into the narrow duct, the gas swirling ominously below. Crawling through the cramped space, they could hear the voices of their pursuers growing faint. Jack's heart pounded in his chest, each turn in the ductwork bringing them closer to freedom. Finally, they emerged onto the roof, the cool night air a welcome relief from the suffocating confines of the warehouse. As they stood on the rooftop, the city sprawled out below them. Jack and Elena took a moment to process the night's events. The pieces of the puzzle were beginning to align, but the full picture was still elusive. The coded documents, the photographs, the strange device, all were clues pointing to a deeper conspiracy, one that threatened to engulf them if they weren't careful. Yet amidst the danger and uncertainty, there was a growing sense of camaraderie between them. Their partnership, forged in the crucible of peril, was becoming a formidable force. They had come this far, and there was no turning back. Together, they would face whatever challenges lay ahead, determined to uncover the truth and bring the shadowy syndicate to justice. The night was far from over, and the path ahead was fraught with peril. But as Jack and Elena disappeared into the fog, one thing was certain: the adventure had only just begun, and the secrets of the warehouse were just the beginning of a mystery that would change everything. The fog hung thickly over the waterfront district, a shroud of mystery and danger that seemed to pulse with its own heartbeat. Jack Harlan and Elena Voss crouched low behind a stack of crates, their breath visible in the chilly night air. The warehouse they had just infiltrated was a treasure trove of secrets, but now discovery meant peril. A sharp noise, a metallic scrape, cut through the silence, alerting them to the presence of a guard. The stakes had never been higher. Jack and Elena exchanged a quick glance, a silent agreement passing between them. They had come too far to be caught now. Their discovery of coded documents, old photographs from a 1920s expedition, and a peculiar device resembling an early radio direction finder had unveiled a legendary lost cargo of gold and artifacts. This was no ordinary treasure hunt. It was a race against time and unseen adversaries. The guard's footsteps grew louder, echoing ominously in the cavernous space. With no time to waste, Jack and Elena made a hasty decision to escape. The only way was up. They scrambled to the nearest ladder, adrenaline propelling them upwards to the rooftop. The night air was crisp against their skin, a stark contrast to the oppressive atmosphere below. As they emerged onto the rooftop, the city sprawled out beneath them, a labyrinth of shadows and secrets. The fog swirled around them like a living entity, obscuring their path and adding an element of danger to each step. Jack led the way, his knowledge of the city's architecture guiding them across the precarious terrain. Elena followed closely, her keen observational skills anticipating the guards' movements below. The chase was on. They leapt from building to building, the thrill of the pursuit mingling with the ever-present threat of capture. Each jump was a calculated risk, the fog masking potential hazards. Yet, in this heart-pounding sequence, the growing camaraderie and trust between Jack and Elena became palpable. They moved as one, their synergy a testament to their shared purpose. Picture this situation. You're on a rooftop, the world a blur beneath you, the air electric with tension. Every muscle in your body is taut, every sense heightened. The guard is closing in, his silhouette a menacing shadow in the fog. There's no turning back, only forward. It's a leap of faith, a test of resolve. This is where Jack and Elena found themselves, their escape hinging on their ability to outsmart their pursuer. As they reached the edge of the rooftops, they found themselves cornered. The guard was close, his presence an inescapable reality. In a moment of desperation, Jack spotted a narrow alleyway below. It was a risky move, but they had no choice. With a nod to Elena, they took the leap, landing safely but with no time to rest. The guards' shouts echoed in the night, but they were already on the move, disappearing into the maze of backstreets. The The winding alleys offered a temporary refuge, the darkness concealing their flight. They ran, the sound of their footsteps swallowed by the city's ambient noise. Eventually, they found shelter in a hidden alcove beneath an old bridge, the structure a silent sentinel over the water below. Here, amidst the echoes of the city night, Jack and Elena caught their breath. The reality of their discovery settled over them like a weight. They were on the brink of uncovering a historical treasure, a trove of gold and artifacts that had been lost to the depths during the Prohibition era. More than that, they were unraveling a criminal syndicate's plot, a conspiracy that stretched back decades. Despite the danger, they were driven by a shared sense of purpose and an unspoken bond forged through their shared experiences. "We're close, Jack," Elena said, her voice steady despite the adrenaline still coursing through her veins. "Closer than anyone has ever been." Jack nodded, his mind racing with possibilities. "We need to stay one step ahead. If we can decode the rest of those documents, we might just find the exact location of the cargo." But their moment of respite was short-lived. The sound of footsteps approaching cut through the night, a reminder that their pursuers were relentless. Jack and Elena exchanged a glance, their resolve unshaken. They had come too far to turn back now. The subchapter concluded with a cliffhanger, leaving readers on the edge of their seats and eager to turn the page. The rooftop chase was not just a thrilling action sequence, it was a testament to the resilience and ingenuity of Jack and Elena. It embodied the essence of a classic mystery thriller adventure, propelling the narrative forward and deepening the mystery surrounding the lost cargo. This sequence reinforced the stakes, setting the stage for the subsequent revelations and confrontations that would unfold. As Jack and Elena prepared to make their next move, the fog-laden waterfront district held its breath, the shadows concealing secrets that were waiting to be uncovered. As the stormy night receded, leaving behind a shroud of mist that clung to the docks like a ghostly veil, Jack Harlan and Elena Voss found themselves on the brink of a revelation that could unravel the city's most enduring mystery. The air was heavy with the scent of salt and impending discovery, a perfect backdrop for the unfolding drama. Crouched behind a stack of forgotten crates, they clutched the coded documents they had unearthed, their minds racing to decipher the secrets hidden within. The warehouse, dimly lit and echoing with the distant calls of seagulls, seemed to breathe with the weight of its history. Jack and Elena knew that these documents were more than just records. They were keys to a forgotten past. A past that spoke of a legendary cargo lost during the Prohibition era, rumored to be laden with gold and priceless artifacts. As they sifted through the old photographs, a faded image caught their attention. A 1920s expedition, the faces of the men obscured by time, but their intent clear. Among them, a silhouette that bore a striking resemblance to the shipping magnate himself. This revelation sent a chill down their spines, suggesting a generational link to the smuggling operations that had long plagued the city. The tension in the air was palpable as Jack and Elena discovered a peculiar device nestled among the crates. Resembling an early radio direction finder, its presence confirmed their suspicions. The warehouse was no mere storage facility. It was a hub for coordinating illicit activities. The realization was electrifying, yet their triumph was short-lived. The echoing footsteps of a guard interrupted their thoughts, propelling them into a thrilling chase. With adrenaline coursing through their veins, Jack and Elena darted between shadows, their footsteps silent against the cold concrete floor. The warehouse, a labyrinth of forgotten relics and hidden secrets, became their playground as they scaled ladders to the rooftop. The city below was a sea of fog, offering the perfect cover for their escape. Each leap from one rooftop to another was a testament to their resolve, the narrative heightening with each heart-pounding moment. Finally, they found themselves on a rooftop overlooking the docks, the fog swirling around them like a living entity. Elena, ever the journalist, took a moment to catch her breath, her instincts urging her to jot down notes. She was determined to uncover the full story behind the lost cargo. Jack, the strategist, began connecting the dots, realizing that the legend of the cargo was not just a tale of riches. It was a narrative of power and corruption that had seeped through the city's veins for decades. Their moment of reprieve was short-lived as they re-entered the warehouse, intent on gathering more evidence. The atmosphere shifted dramatically, the air growing thick with an ominous hiss. Gas was filling the room, a trap set by the syndicate to silence them permanently. With their lives hanging in the balance, Jack and Elena had to rely on their wits and each other to escape the deadly snare. In a desperate bid for survival, they scoured the room for an exit, their eyes scanning every shadow, every corner. The gas was rising, a silent predator that threatened to consume them. Jack's eyes fell on a ventilation shaft, a narrow escape route that could lead them to safety. With time running out, they scrambled towards it, their movements fueled by the primal instinct to survive. As they crawled through the shaft, the world outside seemed to blur, the fog a constant companion. Emerging into the open air, they gasped for breath, their lungs grateful for the clean, salty breeze. The city stretched out before them, a sprawling testament to the challenges they had yet to face. But for now, they were alive, and that was enough. Gathering their thoughts, Jack and Elena knew that the legend of the lost cargo was far from over. They had uncovered only the tip of the iceberg, a glimpse into a world where shadows held sway and secrets were currency. The documents, the photographs, and the device were pieces of a puzzle that promised to reveal more than they could have ever imagined. Their journey was one of discovery, not just of the cargo, but of the forces that had shaped their city. It was a journey that required courage, cunning, and a relentless pursuit of truth. With each step, they delved deeper into the heart of the mystery, unraveling the threads that tied the past to the present. As the fog began to lift, revealing the first rays of dawn, Jack and Elena stood at the precipice of a new chapter. The legend of the lost cargo was a testament to the enduring allure of the unknown, a story that demanded to be told. And they were ready to tell it, to shine a light on the shadows and expose the truth that lay beneath. In the quiet moments that followed, they reflected on their journey, the challenges they had faced, and the bond that had formed between them. They were more than just allies. They were partners in a quest that transcended the boundaries of time and space. Together, they would unravel the mysteries of the past, one clue at a time. The subchapter concluded with a cliffhanger, the promise of more revelations to come. The legend of the lost cargo was not just a tale of riches. It was a narrative of power, corruption, and the relentless pursuit of truth. And Jack and Elena were ready to face whatever lay ahead, driven by a shared desire to uncover the secrets that had long been hidden in the shadows. Jack Harlan crouched low behind a stack of wooden crates, his breath shallow and his senses heightened. The dim glow of the moon filtered through the dusty windows of the waterfront warehouse, casting long shadows that seemed to dance with the rhythm of the waves outside. Jack's mind raced, replaying the events that had led him here, each step a calculated risk in a game where the stakes were growing ever higher. Earlier that evening, Jack and Elena Voss had slipped past the warehouse's rusted gates, their eyes set on uncovering the mysteries hidden within. The warehouse, owned by the enigmatic shipping magnate they had been tailing, promised secrets that could unravel the cryptic Morse code message Jack had intercepted. Stand by, shadows rise. The fourth key unlocks doom. The words echoed in his mind, a puzzle begging to be solved. Inside, the air was thick with the scent of salt and old wood. Jack and Elena moved silently, their footsteps muffled by the layers of dust that coated the floor. They navigated through aisles of forgotten cargo, each box a relic of a bygone era. It was here, among the relics, that they hoped to find the clues that would lead them to the truth. As they delved deeper into the labyrinth of crates, they stumbled upon a series of documents, coded messages, and faded photographs that told the story of a 1920s expedition. The photographs, sepia-toned and fragile, depicted a group of men standing proudly beside an ornate chest. Jack's heart quickened. Could this be the legendary lost cargo of gold and artifacts sunk during Prohibition? The discovery was a breakthrough, but their triumph was short-lived. A noise, a subtle creak of metal, pierced the silence. Jack's instincts kicked in, and he motioned for Elena to hide. They barely had time to duck behind a stack of crates before a guard appeared, his flashlight slicing through the darkness. The confrontation was inevitable. Jack and Elena were outnumbered, but their quick wits and nimble feet gave them an edge. A chase ensued, the guards' shouts echoing through the warehouse as they sprinted across the rooftops. The wind whipped at their faces, and the ground below seemed to blur as they leaped from one building to the next. It was a desperate race against time, and the stakes were higher than ever. But just as they thought they had escaped, the tables turned. The warehouse doors slammed shut with a resounding clang, the sound reverberating through the space like a death knell. Jack and Elena were trapped, and the air around them began to change, thickening, growing heavier. Gas, panic threatened to overtake them, but Jack's mind was already racing, searching for a way out. Imagine you're standing in a room as the walls close in, the air growing thin and toxic. The deciding factor is not just courage, but the ability to think clearly under pressure. For Jack, the answer lay in the details, the hidden mechanisms of the warehouse that he had noted upon entering. There had to be a way out, a hidden escape route that the smugglers themselves might have used. Jack's eyes scanned the room, seeking out any irregularities in the structure. It was Elena who spotted it first, a trapdoor, camouflaged beneath a pile of discarded tarps. They wasted no time, prying it open and descending into the darkness below. The passage was narrow, the air damp and musty, but it was a lifeline, a path to freedom. As they crawled through the tunnel, the voices of their pursuers faded into the distance, replaced by the rhythmic lapping of water. They emerged on the other side, gasping for fresh air, their lungs grateful for the reprieve. But there was no time to rest. The villain's plan was unfolding, and they had overheard enough to piece together the next steps. The fourth key was not a physical object, but a coordinate, a final piece of the puzzle that would reveal the treasure's exact location. Jack and Elena had to act fast, their every move shadowed by the knowledge that the syndicate was closing in. The stakes were higher than ever, and the clock was ticking. The night was far from over. A boat pursuit across choppy waters awaited them, a perilous journey that would test their resolve and their skills. The sea was unforgiving, the waves a relentless force that threatened to capsize their small vessel. Yet, with Jack at the helm, they navigated the treacherous waters, their eyes fixed on the horizon and the promise of answers. As dawn broke, casting a golden hue over the city, Jack and Elena found themselves on a foggy pier, the air thick with tension. A shootout erupted, bullets slicing through the mist as they fought to protect the secrets they had uncovered. It was a battle of wits and wills, each side determined to emerge victorious. In the end, it was Jack's expertise that turned the tide. With a calm born of years spent deciphering signals and codes, he decoded the full message, revealing the syndicate's plan to use the treasure to fund a larger criminal empire. The realization was a bitter pill to swallow, but it steeled their resolve. They were fighting not just for themselves, but for the city they called home. But as the dust settled, a new challenge emerged. Elena was gone, kidnapped by the very allies they had trusted. Betrayal cut deep, and Jack's heart ached with the loss. Yet even in the face of adversity, he knew there was no turning back. The adventure was far from over, and the path ahead was fraught with danger. Jack's mind was a whirlwind of thoughts and emotions, but one thing was clear. He would stop at nothing to rescue Elena and bring the villains to justice. The journey had only just begun, and the shadows that loomed over the city were about to be dispelled by the light of truth. As Jack steeled himself for the challenges ahead, he knew that the answers lay not just in the clues they had uncovered, but in the courage and determination that had brought them this far. The road to redemption was long and winding, but with each step, they were one step closer to unraveling the mystery of the forgotten signal. Chapter 4, Stand By for Peril. In the dim light filtering through the trapdoor, Jack and Elena held their breath, listening intently. The muffled voices of the villains above revealed a chilling plan. The fourth key was not just a cryptic phrase, but a coordinate leading directly to the treasure. This revelation propelled them into action, their escape marked by urgency and adrenaline. Emerging into the crisp night air, they dashed toward the docks, the sound of crashing waves a constant reminder of the peril they faced. A motorboat roared to life under Jack's deft hands, and soon they were slicing through the choppy waters, the villains in hot pursuit. The boat's engine roared against the backdrop of a rising fog, turning the chase into a game of shadows and echoes. As bullets whizzed past, Jack's mind raced, piecing together the fragments of the message they had uncovered. The syndicate's intentions were now clear. The treasure was a means to fund a sprawling criminal empire. With each turn of the boat's wheel, Jack felt the weight of their discovery pressing on him. Reaching the foggy pier, a tense shootout ensued. Jack's quick thinking and Elena's sharp aim kept them alive, but the victory was short-lived. Betrayal struck like a dagger when an ally turned foe, snatching Elena away in the chaos. Jack's heart sank as he watched her disappear into the mist. Realizing the stakes had never been higher, determined and resolute, Jack knew he couldn't let the syndicate succeed. The path ahead was fraught with danger, but he was ready to stand by for whatever peril awaited. The dim light filtered through the dusty windows of the warehouse, casting long shadows across the concrete floor. Jack and Elena stood amidst the chaos, their eyes darting around the room as the gas thickened, a silent enemy creeping closer. Elena coughed, covering her mouth with her sleeve, while Jack's mind raced, piecing together fragments of stories and rumors he'd heard about this place. Suddenly, Jack's gaze fell upon a stack of crates in the corner. A faint draft whispered through the air, barely noticeable but unmistakably there. His heart quickened. Could this be the hidden escape route he had heard about, a relic from the Prohibition era when smugglers needed quick exits from law enforcement? Without hesitation, he grabbed Elena's arm, urgency in his voice. "Help me move these crates," he urged. As they pushed the heavy wooden boxes aside, a trapdoor was revealed beneath. Elena's eyes widened in disbelief, and without a word, they both knew what they had to do. Jack lifted the trapdoor, revealing a narrow passageway that descended into darkness. The air was damp and cool, a stark contrast to the stifling atmosphere above. They descended into the passage, their footsteps echoing softly against the stone walls. The corridor was lined with cobwebs and faded graffiti, remnants of a bygone era when this tunnel might have been bustling with illicit activity. As they moved forward, the weight of their situation pressed down upon them, each step a reminder of the peril they faced. In the midst of their hurried escape, Jack and Elena shared a moment of introspection. The dim light flickered as Jack spoke, his voice carrying a mix of cautious optimism and vulnerability. "You know, I never thought I'd be running through secret tunnels with a newspaper reporter," he admitted with a wry smile. Elena chuckled softly, her determination unwavering. "Life's full of surprises, Jack, but I trust you. We've come this far, and we're not turning back now." Their brief exchange underscored the bond that had formed between them, a partnership forged in the crucible of danger and uncertainty. It was a testament to their resilience and the trust that had grown between them, even in the face of overwhelming odds. As they emerged into a shadowy alley, the sounds of the city enveloped them once more. The distant murmur of voices carried by the wind drew their attention to a nearby pier where the syndicate members were gathered. Crouched behind a stack of barrels, Jack and Elena listened intently, the conversation revealing a chilling truth. The fourth key was indeed a set of final coordinates, the key to unlocking the treasure's exact location. The realization hit them like a thunderclap. The treasure was no myth, it was a tangible threat, a prize that could empower a criminal empire if it fell into the wrong hands. The stakes had never been higher, but their eavesdropping was abruptly interrupted by the appearance of a syndicate lookout. The man's eyes narrowed as he spotted them, and without a word, the chase began. Jack and Elena sprinted through the foggy back streets, their knowledge of the city's nooks and crannies their only advantage. The fog clung to the ground, obscuring their path, but they pressed on, adrenaline fueling their flight. The chase was a silent dance of shadows and footsteps, each turn and alleyway a gamble. Finally, with the lookout hot on their heels, they spotted a passing tram and seized their opportunity. With a daring leap, they landed on the tram's platform, the vehicle carrying them away from immediate danger. As the tram rattled along the tracks, Jack's mind raced, processing the implications of what they had overheard. The syndicate's plan was more sinister than he had imagined, a plot to use the treasure to fund a sprawling criminal empire. The weight of this discovery settled heavily on his shoulders. adding urgency to their mission. But just as they thought they had found a moment of respite, a shocking twist awaited them. As they disembarked from the tram, a trusted ally approached, a familiar face offering a smile that quickly turned to betrayal. Without warning, Elena was captured, her cries echoing in the night as she was dragged away. Jack stood frozen, the betrayal a gut punch that left him reeling. The allies' treachery had shattered their fragile sense of safety, leaving Jack alone in the shadows, his mind racing to formulate a plan for Elena's rescue. This pivotal moment marked a turning point in their journey, a testament to the unpredictable nature of their quest. The emotional roller coaster of action, character development, and plot advancement kept readers on the edge of their seats, eager to see how Jack would navigate the challenges ahead. Escape Through the Trapdoor was a subchapter that seamlessly bridged the preceding and upcoming events, ensuring a smooth narrative flow. The emotional journey of Jack and Elena, coupled with the high-tension escape and the revelation of the syndicate's plan, set the stage for the subsequent high-stakes rescue operation. The mystery of the forgotten signal had drawn them into a world of shadows and intrigue, but it was their courage and resilience that would ultimately determine their fate. As Jack steeled himself for the challenges ahead, one thing was certain. The adventure was far from over, and the truth lay just beyond the horizon, waiting to be uncovered. The air inside the gas-filled warehouse was suffocating, each breath burning Jack Harlan's throat as he and Elena Voss fought to stay conscious. Their eyes watered, and the acrid taste of chemicals lingered on their tongues. Panic threatened to overtake them, but Jack's mind raced, searching for a way out. It was Elena who spotted the faint outline of a trapdoor beneath a pile of discarded crates. "There!" she gasped, pointing with urgency. Jack didn't hesitate. Together, they pushed aside the crates, revealing a rusted metal handle. With a concerted effort, they yanked the trapdoor open, revealing a dark, narrow passageway. As the gas continued to fill the room, they had no choice but to descend into the unknown. The tunnel was cold and damp, the walls slick with moisture. The scent of salt water was overpowering, mingling with the musty smell of earth. As they moved deeper into the darkness, the distant sound of waves crashing became their guide. Each step was cautious, their senses heightened by the adrenaline coursing through their veins. After what felt like an eternity, they paused to catch their breath. The tunnel seemed to stretch endlessly, a labyrinth beneath the city. Jack leaned against the wall, the stone cold against his back, and listened intently. It was then that he heard it, a murmur of voices carried through the tunnel like a ghostly echo. He signaled Elena to stop, his finger pressed to his lips. They crept forward, moving as silently as shadows, until the voices became clearer. Pressing themselves against the wall, they strained to hear the conversation. "The fourth key," one voice said, deep and authoritative. "Once we have it, the treasure is ours," another voice replied, tinged with excitement. Jack's heart pounded in his chest. The fourth key, the phrase that had haunted him since he first intercepted that cryptic Morse code message. Now, here it was, spoken by the very syndicate leaders they had been chasing. "With the treasure, we'll have the funds to expand beyond this city," the first voice continued. "Our reach will be global." The weight of the conspiracy hit Jack and Elena like a tidal wave. This wasn't just about a hidden treasure. It was about a criminal empire poised to spread its tendrils across the world. The realization was sobering, the stakes higher than they had ever imagined. Jack's mind raced, piecing together the implications. Stopping the syndicate was no longer a personal quest. It was a mission to prevent a global catastrophe. He exchanged a glance with Elena, their silent understanding clear. They had to act, and quickly. Suddenly, the voices faded, replaced by the sound of footsteps approaching. A henchman was heading their way, his torchlight flickering against the tunnel walls. Jack and Elena pressed themselves into a shadowy alcove, holding their breath as the light swept past them. The tension was palpable, every muscle in their bodies taut with anticipation. The henchman paused, his light lingering on their hiding spot for a moment that seemed to stretch into eternity. But then he moved on, oblivious to their presence. Jack exhaled slowly, relief washing over him. As the villains moved away, Jack and Elena resumed their journey through the tunnel. The air was cooler now, the scent of the sea growing stronger. They emerged at the docks just as dawn began to break, the sky painted in hues of pink and orange. The fog hung low over the water, the sound of waves crashing against the pier a constant backdrop. With the villain's plan fresh in their minds, Jack and Elena knew they had to move quickly. The docks were bustling with activity, the perfect cover for their next move, a daring boat pursuit that would test their resolve and resourcefulness. This chapter marked a turning point in their adventure. They had transitioned from reacting to the syndicate's moves to proactively working to dismantle their plans. Their growth was evident, their determination unwavering. As they prepared to board a small motorboat, Jack reflected on the journey so far. It had begun with a mysterious transmission, a puzzle that had drawn him into a web of intrigue and danger. Now, it was about more than just solving a mystery. It was about justice, about stopping the syndicate before they could unleash chaos on the world. Elena joined him at the helm, her expression resolute. "Ready?" she asked, her voice steady despite the enormity of the task ahead. Jack nodded, his grip firm on the wheel. "Let's do this." The engine roared to life, and they sped away from the dock, the mist closing in around them. The chase was on, the stakes higher than ever, but they were ready. Together, they would face whatever challenges lay ahead, driven by the knowledge that they were fighting for something greater than themselves. The chapter closed with a sense of anticipation, the promise of high-octane action and thrilling twists waiting just beyond the horizon. Jack and Elena's resolve was tested, their courage unwavering as they continued their quest to thwart the villain's plans and uncover the truth hidden in the shadows. The wind howled across the darkened waters, whipping salt spray into a frenzy as Jack Harlan steered the small motorboat through the choppy waves. The moonlight played tricks on the surface, casting ghostly shadows that danced and disappeared with each swell. Jack's eyes were fixed on the horizon, where the silhouette of a larger vessel loomed, the very heart of the criminal syndicate's operations. Beside him, Elena Voss clung to the side of the boat, her eyes wide with a mixture of fear and determination. "Are you sure about this, Jack?" she shouted over the roar of the engine and the crashing waves. Jack nodded, his jaw set with resolve. "We can't let them get away. That ship has everything we need to stop them, the final piece of the puzzle." His mind raced with the implications of what they were about to do. The stakes were high, but so were the potential rewards. If they could intercept the syndicate's ship, they might finally uncover the truth behind the cryptic Morse code message and the sinister plot it hinted at. As they closed in on the vessel, the wind carried the faint sound of a bell, tolling ominously through the fog. It was a sound Jack had come to associate with danger, a harbinger of the chaos that seemed to follow him ever since he first intercepted that mysterious Suddenly, a spotlight from the ship swept across the water, illuminating the small boat in a blinding glare. Jack's heart pounded as he veered sharply to the right, narrowly avoiding detection. "They know we're here," Elena whispered, her voice barely audible over the wind. Jack glanced at her, his expression grim. "Then we make it count. Hang on!" With a surge of adrenaline, he gunned the engine, pushing the boat to its limits as they raced toward the ship. The sound of gunfire erupted from the deck, bullets splashing into the water around them. The boat rocked violently, but Jack held his course, maneuvering with precision and instinct honed from years of navigating these treacherous waters. "We're almost there," he shouted, his voice filled with urgency and hope. As they drew closer, the details of the ship became clearer. The rusted hull, the tangled nets draped over the side, and the shadowy figures moving frantically on deck. Jack could see the outline of a crane poised to lift something heavy from the depths. Whatever it was, it held the key to unraveling the syndicate's plans. Elena grabbed Jack's arm, her eyes locked on his. "Jack, look!" She pointed to a small boat tethered to the side of the ship, bobbing in the water like a lifeline. "That's our way in." Without hesitation, Jack adjusted their course, steering toward the smaller vessel. The plan was risky, but it was their best chance to board the ship undetected. As they pulled alongside, Jack leaped onto the smaller boat, securing it with a practiced ease. Elena followed, her movements swift and sure, despite the rocking waves. They climbed aboard the ship, slipping silently onto the deck amidst the chaos. The air was thick with tension, the crew shouting orders and scrambling to secure the precious cargo. Jack and Elena moved quickly, sticking to the shadows as they made their way toward the bridge. Inside, the atmosphere was charged with urgency. Maps and charts covered the walls, and a radio crackled with static, echoing the coded messages that had set this whole adventure in motion. Jack's eyes narrowed as he scanned the room, searching for the clues that would lead them to the truth. Elena's voice was a whisper in his ear. There. She pointed to a ledger on the table, its pages filled with cryptic notes and symbols. That's what we need. Jack nodded, his mind racing as he pieced together the fragments of information they had gathered. The ledger held the final coordinates, the location of the hidden treasure that the syndicate was so desperate to find. But more importantly, it contained evidence of their criminal activities, enough to dismantle their operations once and for all. As Jack reached for the ledger, the door burst open, and a figure loomed in the doorway. It was the syndicate's leader, a man whose presence radiated menace and authority. "I should have known you'd find your way here, Harlan," he sneered, his voice dripping with disdain. Jack's heart skipped a beat, but he stood his ground, meeting the man's gaze with steely resolve. "It's over. We've got everything we need to bring you down." The leader laughed, a harsh, mocking sound that echoed through the room. "You think you've won? You're too late. The treasure is already ours, and soon, so will be the city." Elena stepped forward, her eyes blazing with defiance. "Not if we have anything to say about it." The leader's expression darkened, and he reached for a weapon at his side. But before he could act, Jack lunged forward, knocking the gun from his hand. The two men grappled, the room a blur of motion and chaos as they fought for control. Elena moved quickly, grabbing the ledger and tucking it safely into her coat. She knew the importance of their mission, the weight of the evidence they held in their hands. With the ledger, they could expose the syndicate's plans to the world, putting an end to their reign of terror. As the struggle continued, Jack's mind raced with the possibilities. The fight was fierce, but he could feel the tide turning in their favor. With a final, desperate push, he sent the leader crashing to the floor, securing their victory. Breathing heavily, Jack turned to Elena, a triumphant smile on his face. "We did it." She returned his smile, her eyes shining with relief and gratitude. "It's not over yet. We still have to get out of here." With the ledger in hand and the ship's alarms blaring, they made their way back to the deck. The crew was in disarray, scrambling to respond to the crisis at hand. Jack and Elena moved quickly, using the chaos to their advantage as they slipped back onto the smaller boat. As they sped away from the ship, the reality of their situation sank in. They had the evidence they needed, but the danger was far from over. The syndicate would stop at nothing to silence them, to protect their secrets and their plans. But for now, they had won a crucial battle. The treasure was still out there, waiting to be found. But they had the means to stop the syndicate and bring justice to those who had suffered at their hands. As the coastline came into view, Jack and Elena exchanged a look of determination and hope. They were in this together, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. The mystery of the forgotten signal had led them on a dangerous path, but it had also brought them closer, forging a bond that would endure long after the shadows had faded. And as they navigated the turbulent waters, Jack knew that their adventure was far from over. The signal had been a catalyst, a call to action that had changed everything. But it was just the beginning of a journey that promised new discoveries, new challenges, and new opportunities to stand by and fight for what was right. As the gas began to fill the warehouse, Jack and Elena were gripped by a mix of desperation and determination. The heavy, acrid smell of the gas stung their nostrils, urging them into action. Jack's sharp eyes scanned the room, searching for any possible escape route. It was Elena who spotted it first, a hidden trapdoor beneath a stack of dusty crates. "Here!" she shouted, her voice muffled by the thickening haze. Jack wasted no time, pulling the crates aside to reveal the trapdoor. With a heave, they pried it open, revealing a narrow, damp tunnel stretching into darkness. They exchanged a quick, determined glance before descending into the unknown. The tunnel was claustrophobic, the walls slick with moisture and the air cool against their skin. As they moved quickly through the passage, the sound of an alarm echoed from above. The villains had realized their prey had slipped through their fingers. Emerging from the tunnel, Jack and Elena found themselves on a fog-draped pier. The ocean roared beneath them, waves crashing against the wooden beams with relentless force. The air was thick with tension, and the visibility was poor, creating a perfect setting for a high-stakes confrontation. The pier, lined with abandoned fishing boats and scattered crates, offered both cover and obstacles. "We need to get to that boat," Jack said, pointing to an escape vessel moored at the far end of the pier. But their path was far from clear. A group of villains, led by a particularly menacing henchman, had given chase. The fog swirled around them, adding an eerie veil to the scene. A tense shootout ensued, with bullets ricocheting off metal and wood, echoing through the mist. Jack, relying on his sharp wit and quick reflexes, used the fog to his advantage. He created diversions, darting between crates and using the cover to outflank his pursuers. His mind raced with strategies, each move calculated to gain an upper hand. Meanwhile, Elena showcased her resourcefulness, using her knowledge of the pier's layout to guide Jack through the maze. Her determination was palpable as she refused to be a passive participant in the unfolding drama. She engaged in the fight for their survival, her quick thinking and decisive actions proving invaluable. The shootout reached its climax as Jack and Elena found themselves cornered at the end of the pier. With no other options, Jack made a daring move. He pulled out a flare gun, aiming it at the sky. The flare exploded with a brilliant flash, temporarily blinding their attackers and buying them precious seconds. "Go now," Jack urged, pulling Elena towards the escape boat. They scrambled aboard, the engine roaring to life as they sped away from the pier. As they put distance between themselves and their pursuers, the fog began to lift, revealing the sprawling city skyline in the distance. It was a moment of temporary respite, but they both knew the threat was far from over. Jack's mind turned to the cryptic message that had set this entire chain of events in motion. The fourth key wasn't just a coordinate, but a crucial element in the syndicate's plan to unlock unimaginable power and wealth. Understanding this, he realized the stakes were higher than ever. However, their relief was short-lived. As they navigated the boat through the now clear waters, a shadowy figure emerged from the shadows. In a shocking twist, Elena was snatched from the boat, the betrayal cutting deep as it was someone they had believed to be an ally. Jack was left reeling, his mind racing with the implications of this betrayal. The unexpected turn of events set the stage for an even more intense pursuit. The mystery deepened, raising the stakes and leaving readers eager to discover what would happen next in this thrilling adventure. The sound of the ocean faded into the background as Jack's focus sharpened. He couldn't afford to let despair take hold. Instead, he resolved to uncover the truth, to rescue Elena, and to unravel the syndicate's plans once and for all. The adventure was far from over, and Jack knew he had to stand by, ready to face whatever shadows lay ahead. The night was thick with tension, the kind that seeped into the bones and whispered of danger lurking just beyond sight. Jack Harlan stood at the edge of the bustling coastal city, his eyes scanning the horizon, where the sea met the stormy sky. The air was heavy with the scent of salt and impending rain, a fitting backdrop for the storm brewing in Jack's life. Inside his modest radio room, the steady hum of equipment was a familiar comfort. It was here, amidst the glow of dials and the crackle of static, that Jack first heard the transmission that would change everything. The Morse code message was faint, like a ghostly whisper. "Stand by. Shadows rise. The fourth key unlocks doom." The signal cut off abruptly, leaving a chilling silence in its wake. Jack's mind raced as he traced the message back to its source. The abandoned lighthouse on the outskirts of the city was a relic of a bygone era, its towering silhouette a stark reminder of secrets hidden in plain sight. As he approached, the wind howled through the cracks in the old structure, and the sound of waves crashing against the rocks below was a relentless drumbeat. Inside, Jack found signs of recent activity. Fresh footprints in the dust, a hidden transmitter cleverly concealed behind a false wall. His pulse quickened as he pieced together the clues, each one pointing to a conspiracy that ran deeper than he had imagined. But his investigation was cut short by the sudden appearance of a masked figure, their intentions as shadowy as their identity. With quick reflexes honed from years of sleuthing, Jack narrowly escaped, clutching a torn map fragment that hinted at a long-lost treasure tied to a forgotten 1920s smuggling ring. The map was a puzzle, each piece a potential key to unlocking the mystery that had ensnared him. Days later, Jack found himself in the smoky, bustling newsroom of the Coastal Herald, seeking the help of Elena Voss. She was a fast-talking, no-nonsense reporter with a reputation for uncovering the truth no matter how deeply it was buried. Together, they formed an unlikely alliance, united by a shared determination to unravel the mystery of the cryptic message. Their investigation led them to the docks, where the fog clung to the air like a shroud. It was here that they uncovered the dark underbelly of the city, a criminal syndicate operating under the guise of a shipping company. The ledger they found was a treasure trove of information, each entry a piece of the puzzle that pointed to a larger conspiracy. But the path to the truth was fraught with danger. As Jack and Elena delved deeper, they found themselves pursued by shadowy figures, their intentions as murky as the fog that enveloped the city. A narrow escape from a speeding car only served to heighten the tension, each heartbeat a reminder of the stakes they faced. Determined to uncover the truth, Jack and Elena broke into the magnate's waterfront warehouse under the cover of darkness. Inside, they found coded documents and old photographs of a 1920s expedition, the faces in the images hauntingly familiar. A strange device resembling an early radio direction finder hinted at a connection to the lost cargo of gold and artifacts, a treasure that had eluded capture for decades. Their discovery was interrupted by a confrontation with a guard, leading to a heart-pounding chase across the rooftops. The city below was a blur of lights and shadows, each step a calculated risk as they fled from their pursuers. But the danger was far from over. As they reached the safety of the ground, the warehouse doors slammed shut behind them, trapping them inside as gas began to fill the room. In a desperate bid for survival, Jack and Elena discovered a hidden trapdoor, their escape a narrow victory against the odds. As they emerged into the night air, they overheard the villain's plan. The fourth key was a final coordinate that would reveal the treasure's exact location. The stakes were higher than ever, each clue a step closer to uncovering the truth. The following days were a blur of high-stakes action. A boat pursuit across choppy waters tested their resolve, each wave a reminder of the danger that loomed. On a foggy pier, a shootout erupted, the sound of gunfire echoing across the water. Amidst the chaos, Jack decoded the full message, his sharp mind piecing together the final clues that would unlock the mystery. But victory was short-lived. In a cruel twist of fate, Elena was kidnapped, her betrayal by a supposed ally a devastating blow. Jack was left alone, his determination unwavering as he vowed to rescue her and bring the villains to justice. The trail led Jack to a remote, storm-lashed island off the coast, a former smuggler's hideout shrouded in secrecy. The island was a fortress, its secrets hidden beneath layers of deception and danger. As Jack infiltrated the villain's base, he dodged booby traps and fought henchmen, each encounter a test of his resolve. Inside the old fort, Jack discovered a massive radio tower broadcasting false distress signals, a clever ruse to lure unsuspecting ships into the syndicate's grasp. It was here that he found Elena, bound and determined as ever, her spirit unbroken by the ordeal. The leader of the syndicate revealed himself, a figure from Jack's past who had faked his death years ago. The revelation was a shock, but it only served to strengthen Jack's resolve. In a tense showdown atop the tower, Jack pieced together the final clue. The fourth key was not a physical object, but a radio frequency sequence that would unlock the safe containing the treasure map's last piece. As a storm raged around them, lightning illuminating the chaos, Jack outsmarted the villains using his radio expertise. He broadcast a fake standby signal, drawing the authorities to their location. The villains were captured, their plans thwarted by their own greed and ambition. In the aftermath, justice was served, the syndicate dismantled, and the lost signal's mystery solved. Jack and Elena shared a moment as the sun rose over the now quiet lighthouse, the promise of a new day on the horizon. As they reflected on the adventure that had brought them together, they knew that their story was far from over. For in the world of shadows, the brave stand by, and the truth always breaks through. Chapter 5, The Hidden Island. As Jack Harlan set foot on the storm-lashed island, the air was thick with the salty tang of the ocean and the ominous roar of waves crashing against jagged rocks. His heart pounded in his chest, not from fear, but from the adrenaline-fueled anticipation of the challenges that lay ahead. This island, once a bustling hub for smugglers, had become a shadow of its former self, a ghostly remnant steeped in mystery and danger. Driven by an urgent need to rescue Elena, Jack steeled himself against the howling wind and began his cautious journey across the treacherous terrain. The path was littered with remnants of the island's illicit past, including cleverly concealed booby traps. These traps were a testament to the cunning of those who once ruled this clandestine world. Jack's keen observation skills were his greatest asset as he navigated this perilous landscape. As he moved forward, Jack's sharp wit and quick reflexes were put to the test. He noticed a faint glimmer of wire, almost invisible against the rocky ground. With a steady hand, he disarmed the tripwire, narrowly avoiding the pitfall trap it was connected to. This was not just a test of his physical abilities, but a demonstration of his resourcefulness and determination. More often than not, the critical element of survival was remaining calm under pressure. Deeper into the heart of the island, Jack encountered his first human obstacle, a burly henchman patrolling the perimeter of the old fort. The man was a formidable presence, his silhouette stark against the dim light filtering through the storm clouds. A tense confrontation ensued, with Jack relying on his agility and combat skills. In a swift, calculated move, he outmaneuvered the guard, subduing him with a deft strike. This skirmish left Jack breathless but resolute, his drive to save Elena burning brighter than ever. Inside the fort, the atmosphere grew even more oppressive. Shadows loomed large, and the air was thick with the smell of damp stone and rust. Jack moved stealthily through the dimly lit corridors, his senses heightened as he listened for any sign of Elena or the villainous leader. The fort's interior was a labyrinth of narrow passageways and hidden chambers, each turn revealing new dangers and challenges. Jack's journey was punctuated by a series of skirmishes with the henchmen, each battle more intense than the last. These encounters were not just physical, but also psychological. As he grappled with the realization that the leader of this operation was someone from his past, a former partner he believed had perished long ago, Jack was forced to confront his own feelings of betrayal and loss. This revelation added a layer of emotional complexity to his mission. The subchapter reached its climax as Jack finally located the massive radio tower, the source of the false distress signals. There he found Elena, bound but determined despite her captivity. The sight of her strengthened Jack's resolve, and together they devised a plan to outsmart the remaining henchmen and dismantle the operation. Elena's sharp mind and Jack's tactical acumen made them a formidable team. As they prepared to confront the leader, the tension was palpable. Jack knew that more than just their lives were at stake. The fate of countless others depended on their success. The critical element was timing, and they had to move quickly and decisively. In practice, dodging traps and fighting henchmen required more than just physical prowess. It demanded a strategic mind and an unwavering will. Jack's journey through the island was a testament to his growth from a skilled radio operator to a determined hero. He was willing to face his past and protect those he cared about, no matter the cost. What's particularly interesting is how Jack's character deepened through these trials. He was not just fighting for survival, but for redemption, for the chance to right the wrongs of his past. The emotional stakes were high, and each step brought him closer to a confrontation that would test every facet of his character. As Jack and Elena stood on the brink of their final showdown, the storm raged around them, a fitting backdrop to the turmoil within. The critical element was their unity, their shared purpose in the face of overwhelming odds. Together, they were ready to face whatever lay ahead, driven by the hope of a brighter future beyond the shadows. This subchapter was essential for its action-packed sequences and the deepening of Jack's character. It highlighted his transformation and set the stage for the dramatic showdown to come. Readers, fully invested in Jack's journey, were left eager to see how the story would unfold, knowing that the true test was yet to come. The wind howled mercilessly as Jack Harlan stepped onto the rocky shoreline of the storm-lashed island. The tumultuous sea crashed against the jagged rocks, sending sprays of salty mist into the air. Jack's heart pounded with a mix of adrenaline and determination. He was here to rescue Elena Voss and dismantle the criminal syndicate that had ensnared them both in a web of deceit. The storm, though menacing, provided the perfect cover for his approach, masking his movements from prying eyes. As Jack navigated the treacherous terrain, he couldn't help but notice the remnants of the island's smuggler past. Overgrown paths wound through the dense foliage, leading to crumbling structures that whispered tales of long-forgotten secrets. Each step was a reminder of the stakes involved, the island itself a labyrinth of danger and intrigue. Jack's sharp instincts, honed over years of sleuthing and radio operation, guided him as he avoided cleverly hidden booby traps, a testament to the cunning of his former partner, now revealed as the syndicate leader. The reality is, Jack's journey through the island was fraught with peril. Each encounter with the syndicate's henchmen heightened the sense of urgency. Jack's resourcefulness and quick thinking were on full display as he used the environment to his advantage, employing stealth and surprise to outmaneuver his adversaries. Picture this situation. Jack, crouched behind a moss-covered boulder, waits for the perfect moment to strike, his mind racing with possibilities. In one swift motion, he disarms a guard, turning the tide in his favor. Yet, amidst the chaos, the emotional core of Jack's struggle was his internal battle. Memories of his past partnership with the villain surfaced, adding layers to his character. The betrayal cut deep, fueling his determination to stop the syndicate. This personal revelation added depth to the narrative, making Jack's mission not just about rescue, but also redemption. Analysis reveals that such personal stakes often drive individuals to achieve the seemingly impossible, a truth Jack embodied with every step he took. As Jack reached the heart of the island, a massive radio tower loomed before him, its steel frame cutting a stark silhouette against the stormy sky. This structure was more than just a physical obstacle. It symbolized both the syndicate's reach and Jack's personal history. The tower broadcasted false distress signals, a sinister beacon drawing unsuspecting ships to their doom. Jack's understanding of radio technology proved crucial as he began to unravel the mystery behind the fourth key. Inside the tower, Jack found Elena bound but defiant, her spirit unbroken despite her captivity. Their reunion was both a relief and a catalyst for action. Together, they devised a plan to disable the tower and alert the authorities. This moment solidified their partnership, showcasing their mutual trust and reliance. Don't overlook the significance of this alliance. It's a testament to the power of teamwork and shared goals in overcoming adversity. The climax of the subchapter unfolded in a tense confrontation atop the tower. Jack faced his former partner, the man he once trusted implicitly. The storm raged around them, mirroring the emotional tempest within Jack. The showdown was intense, a blend of physical and mental chess, as Jack used his knowledge of radio frequencies to outwit his opponent. What's particularly interesting is how Jack's expertise became his greatest weapon, turning the tide of battle in his favor. In the end, Jack broadcasted a carefully crafted signal, a call for help that would bring the authorities to the island. As the storm began to abate, a sense of hope emerged. Jack and Elena prepared for the final confrontation, their bond stronger than ever. This subchapter was essential for its exploration of Jack's character, the deepening of his relationship with Elena, and the pivotal revelation of the syndicate's machinations. It set the stage for the thrilling resolution to come, leaving readers eager for the next chapter. The massive radio tower, once a symbol of the syndicate's power, now stood as a testament to Jack and Elena's courage and resilience. Their actions had not only thwarted a criminal empire, but also laid the groundwork for justice to prevail. As they descended the tower, hand in hand, the first rays of dawn pierced the storm clouds, casting a golden light over the island. This moment of tranquility was a stark contrast to the chaos that had unfolded, a reminder that even in the darkest of times, hope and redemption are within reach. In the world of shadows and intrigue, Jack Harlan had proven that the brave stand by, ready to face whatever challenges come their way. The massive radio tower, once a beacon of deception, had become a symbol of their triumph. And as the chapter closed, the promise of new adventures lingered on the horizon, a faint signal beckoning Jack and Elena toward the unknown. Jack Harlan stood at the edge of the storm-lashed island, the salt-laden wind whipping through his hair as he stared at the imposing silhouette of the old fort. The crumbling structure, once a smuggler's haven, now served as the lair of a shadowy syndicate. Yet, it was not the fort itself that held Jack's attention, but the massive radio tower that loomed above it, a silent sentinel against the darkening sky. Somewhere within its walls, Elena was being held captive, and Jack was determined to rescue her. As he made his way through the dense underbrush, Jack couldn't help but reflect on the twists of fate that had led him here. It wasn't just the cryptic message or the promise of treasure that had drawn him into this dangerous game. It was the revelation that the mastermind behind it all was a ghost from his past, a former partner he had long thought dead. The reunion was not one Jack had anticipated, nor was it one he could afford to avoid. Jack's mind drifted back to the early days, when he and his partner, Samuel Sam Blackwood, had worked side by side as radio operators. They had shared a camaraderie forged in the static-laden airwaves, decoding messages that others couldn't comprehend. But Sam had always been more than just a colleague. He had been a friend, a confidant. That was until the fateful day Sam had vanished, leaving behind a trail of unanswered questions and a void in Jack's life. Now, as Jack approached the fort, he could feel the weight of their shared history pressing down on him. The betrayal had been a bitter pill to swallow, but the truth was even more galling. Sam had faked his death and turned to a life of crime. The realization had hit Jack like a physical blow, but he had no time to dwell on the past. Elena's life was at stake, and he needed to act quickly. Slipping through a narrow gap in the fort's outer wall, Jack found himself in a dimly lit corridor. The air was thick with the scent of damp stone and rust, and the distant hum of machinery echoed through the halls. He moved cautiously, his senses on high alert. Every shadow seemed to shift and flicker, as if the very walls were conspiring to keep him from his goal. It wasn't long before Jack encountered the first of Sam's henchmen. A hulking figure emerged from the shadows, blocking Jack's path. The confrontation was swift and brutal, a flurry of fists and feet that left Jack breathless but victorious. He pressed on, knowing that each step brought him closer to Elena and the answers he sought. As he navigated the labyrinthine corridors, Jack's mind raced with possibilities. The fourth key had been a tantalizing mystery, one that had led him on a chase through foggy docks and treacherous waters. But now, it seemed, the key was not a physical object, but a sequence of radio frequencies. It was a puzzle only someone with Jack's expertise could solve, and he was determined to do just that. Finally, Jack reached the base of the radio tower. The structure loomed above him, its metal framework gleaming in the dim light. Somewhere at the top, Elena was being held, and Jack knew he had to act fast. He began his ascent, climbing the rickety ladder with a determination born of desperation. The climb was arduous, each rung a test of his resolve. But Jack's mind was focused, his thoughts a steady stream of calculations and contingencies. He had to reach Elena, had to stop Sam's plan before it was too late. The treasure they sought was more than just gold and artifacts. It was a means to an end, a way to fund a criminal empire that would plunge the city into chaos. As Jack reached the top of the tower, he was greeted by a chilling sight. Elena was there, bound and gagged, her eyes wide with fear. And standing beside her, a smirk playing across his lips, was Sam Blackwood. The years had changed him, but the glint in his eyes was unmistakable. It was the look of a man who believed he had won. "Jack," Sam said, his voice a mocking echo of their past camaraderie. "I knew you'd come. You always were predictable." Jack's heart pounded in his chest, but he forced himself to remain calm. "Let her go, Sam. This isn't you. It doesn't have to end like this." Sam laughed, a harsh, hollow sound that cut through the tension. "Oh, but it does, Jack. You see, I've come too far to turn back now. The treasure is within my grasp, and with it, the power to reshape this city." The two men faced each other, the storm raging around them, a metaphor for the turmoil that had brought them to this moment. Jack knew he had to act. to use his skills to outsmart the man who had once been his friend. With a swift movement, Jack reached for his radio, fingers dancing over the dials as he broadcast a fake stand-by signal. It was a desperate gamble, a call to the authorities that he hoped would bring help in time. The air crackled with tension as the signal went out, a silent plea for justice. The distraction was enough. As Sam's attention wavered, Jack sprang into action, a blur of motion as he fought to free Elena. The struggle was fierce, a battle of wills that left both men battered and bruised. But Jack's determination was unwavering, fueled by the need to save Elena and stop Sam's plan. Finally, with a last desperate effort, Jack managed to overpower Sam, securing him with the very ropes that had bound Elena. The authorities, drawn by Jack's signal, arrived just in time to witness the end of the confrontation. The villains were captured, their plans thwarted, and the treasure secured. As the storm began to abate, Jack and Elena stood together, the dawn breaking over the horizon. It was a new beginning, a chance to rebuild and reflect on the journey that had brought them here. Jack knew that the reunion with his former partner had changed him, had forced him to confront the shadows of his past. But it had also given him a renewed sense of purpose, a reminder that the truth always breaks through, even in the darkest of times. With the sun rising over the island, Jack and Elena shared a quiet moment, their thoughts turned to the future. There would be more adventures, more mysteries to unravel. But for now, they were content to stand together, united by the trials they had faced and the bond they had forged. As they prepared to leave the island, Jack couldn't help but smile. The world of shadows was a dangerous place, but he knew that with courage and determination, they would always find a way to stand by the truth. Chapter 6, The Fourth Key Revealed. The storm raged as Jack Harlan stood atop the towering radio mast, rain slicing through the air like daggers. Lightning flashed, revealing the tense tableau, Jack, the villains closing in, and the truth hanging in the balance. The realization struck him like the storm itself. The fourth key wasn't an object, but a sequence of radio frequencies, a melody of signals that unlocked the safe containing the final piece of the treasure map. Jack's mind raced. He knew the villains were after more than gold. They sought to control a network of corruption. In the chaos, he engaged in a brutal fistfight, fists flying, the tower swaying under nature's fury. Experience taught him that brute force wasn't his strongest suit, it was his intellect. As thunder roared, Jack seized the moment, using his radio expertise to broadcast a fake standby signal. Here's an example of quick thinking. Jack's signal, seemingly innocuous, was a covert call for help. Within minutes, the authorities, alerted by the broadcast, converged on the scene. The villains, caught off guard, found themselves surrounded and outmatched. Keep in mind that Jack's cleverness wasn't just in his technical skills, but in his ability to anticipate and outmaneuver his adversaries. As the storm subsided, the true treasure emerged, hidden documents revealing a web of corruption that reached the city's highest echelons. This technique of blending intellect and action not only secured justice, but showcased Jack's resourcefulness. Experience indicates that sometimes the most powerful keys are those we can't see, but rather those we can tune into. The storm raged on, its fury reflected in the relentless waves crashing against the coastal city's docks. Inside a dimly lit room, Jack Harlan, a sharp-witted radio operator, sat hunched over his equipment, eyes narrowed in concentration. The faint crackle of static filled the air, but Jack's attention was riveted to the rhythmic beeps of Morse code breaking through the noise. Stand by. Shadows rise. The fourth key unlocks doom. The message was cryptic, yet it resonated with an urgency that sent a shiver down his spine. Intrigued and sensing a mystery deeper than the stormy night itself, Jack knew he had to act. The signal had cut off abruptly, leaving him with more questions than answers. But he was no stranger to puzzles, and this one beckoned him like a siren's call. He traced the signal to an old lighthouse, long abandoned but recently showing signs of life. Fresh footprints in the dust, a hidden transmitter tucked away in the shadows. Something was amiss. As Jack explored the lighthouse, his instincts screamed danger. A masked figure loomed in the shadows, nearly catching him off guard. But Jack was quick, slipping away just in time, his heart pounding with the thrill of the chase. In his escape, he stumbled upon a torn map fragment, hinting at a long-forgotten treasure tied to a notorious 1920s smuggling ring. This was no ordinary mystery. This was a puzzle with pieces scattered across time. Jack's mind raced as he pieced together the clues. The cryptic message, the hidden transmitter, the map fragment, each element a piece of a larger, more dangerous game. He knew he couldn't do it alone. Enter Elena Voss, a plucky newspaper reporter with a knack for uncovering secrets. Together, they formed an unlikely alliance, their shared determination to unravel the mystery binding them tighter than any storm. Elena, with her quick wit and no-nonsense attitude, was the perfect partner for Jack. As they delved deeper into the mystery, they uncovered a criminal syndicate operating under the guise of a shipping company. The fourth key, they discovered, referred to Chapter 4 of a secret ledger used by the syndicate. A ledger that could unlock the truth behind the shadows rising over the city. Their investigation led them through the foggy docks, where suspicious characters lurked in every shadow. A suave shipping magnate, a nervous inventor, and a silent enforcer, all part of a shadowy alliance with secrets to protect. Tension mounted as Jack and Elena found themselves followed, their every move watched by unseen eyes. A narrow escape from a speeding car cemented their resolve. They were onto something big. Determined to uncover the truth, Jack and Elena broke into the magnate's waterfront warehouse under the cover of night. Inside, they found coded documents, old photographs of a 1920s expedition, and a strange device resembling an early radio direction finder. But their discovery was cut short by the arrival of a guard, leading to a heart-pounding chase across the rooftops. As they fled, they pieced together the legend of a lost cargo of gold and artifacts sunk during Prohibition, a treasure that someone was using modern radio technology to locate. Trapped in the warehouse as gas began to fill the room, Jack and Elena's situation grew dire. But quick thinking and a hidden trapdoor offered them a way out, just in time to overhear the villain's plan. The fourth key was a final coordinate, the last piece of the puzzle that would reveal the treasure's exact location. High-stakes action ensued. A boat pursuit across choppy waters, a shootout on a foggy pier, and Jack decoding the message in the nick of time. The syndicate's plan was clear: use the treasure to fund a larger criminal empire. But betrayal lurked in the shadows. Elena, kidnapped by a supposed ally, became a pawn in the villain's game. Jack's heart ached with the loss, but his resolve only strengthened. He followed clues to a remote, storm-lashed island off the coast, once a smuggler's haven. There he infiltrated the villain's secret base inside an old fort, dodging booby traps and fighting henchmen with a tenacity born of desperation. Inside the fort, Jack discovered a massive radio tower broadcasting false distress signals to lure ships, a chilling reminder of the syndicate's reach. And there, bound in the tower, was Elena. But the leader of the syndicate was someone Jack never expected. A former partner, presumed dead, now revealed as the mastermind behind the operation. In a tense showdown atop the tower, Jack pieced together the final clue. The fourth key was not a physical object, but a radio frequency sequence that unlocked a safe containing the treasure map's last piece. Lightning illuminated the chaos as a brutal fistfight ensued, Jack outsmarting the villains with his radio expertise. He broadcast a fake stand-by signal, drawing the authorities just in time to capture the syndicate. With the villains apprehended, the true treasure was revealed. Not gold or artifacts, but hidden documents exposing corruption at the highest levels. Justice was served, the syndicate dismantled, and the lost signal's mystery solved. As the sun rose over the now quiet lighthouse, Jack and Elena shared a moment of triumph and reflection. One mysterious transmission had changed everything, setting them on a path neither could have imagined. As they stood together, the future seemed bright with possibilities. The world of shadows was vast, but Jack and Elena were ready to face whatever lay ahead. And as another faint signal echoed on the horizon, they knew this was only the beginning of their adventures. In the world of shadows, the brave stand by, and the truth always breaks through. The storm raged with a ferocity that seemed to echo the turmoil within Jack Harlan's mind. High atop the radio tower, the winds howled like a pack of wolves, threatening to tear him from his precarious perch. Yet amidst the chaos, Jack's focus was unyielding. His fingers danced over the radio dials, each twist and turn a calculated move in a deadly game of chess against the villainous syndicate that lurked in the shadows below. Lightning flashed, illuminating the scene in stark, blinding bursts. Jack's heart pounded in rhythm with the storm, each beat reminding him of the stakes. The fourth key, he realized, was not a tangible object, but a sequence of radio frequencies, a revelation that had come to him like a bolt of inspiration amidst the chaos. It was a discovery that could turn the tide, but only if he acted swiftly. As the storm's fury intensified, Jack concocted a daring plan. He would broadcast a fake standby signal, a counterfeit message crafted to deceive the syndicate and draw the authorities to their location. It was a gamble, a high-stakes maneuver that required precision and nerves of steel. Failure was not an option. The consequences were too dire to contemplate. With the radio equipment humming under his touch, Jack's mind raced back to the cryptic Morse code message that had ignited this perilous adventure. Stand by, shadows rise, the fourth key unlocks doom. Those words had been a puzzle, a riddle that had led him to this moment. Now they were his weapon, a tool he could wield against his foes. Below, the syndicate's henchmen moved like phantoms in the storm, their intentions as dark as the night itself. Jack knew they were closing in, their presence a constant reminder of the danger that loomed. But Elena's kidnapping weighed heavily on his mind, fueling his determination. He would not let her down. As Jack worked, his internal monologue revealed a tapestry of fear and hope, a window into his psyche that underscored his transformation from a mere radio operator to a hero in his own right. The storm roared around him, but his focus remained unbroken, his resolve unshaken. The fake signal began to take shape, each pulse of Morse code a calculated step towards salvation. The narrative tension reached a crescendo as Jack's deception unfolded. The storm's lightning illuminated the brutal fistfight that erupted atop the tower, each punch and dodge a testament to Jack's resourcefulness and tenacity. The physical struggle was intense, but Jack's cleverness shone through as he used his knowledge of the radio equipment to gain the upper hand. As the fake signal pierced the airwaves, it was a beacon of hope in the storm. The authorities, vigilant and ever watchful, intercepted the transmission. The distant wail of sirens cut through the tempest, a sound that heralded the arrival of justice. It was a dramatic turning point, the cavalry arriving in the nick of time to tip the scales in Jack's favor. The syndicate's capture unfolded with a swift, decisive force. The villains, shackled and subdued, were led away, their nefarious plans thwarted by Jack's ingenuity. Yet, amidst the victory, the true treasure, the hidden documents that exposed corruption at the highest levels, remained safely in Jack's possession, a testament to his cleverness and courage. This subchapter, with its high-stakes action and emotional depth, not only resolved the central mystery, but also cemented Jack's place as a hero. It left readers breathless, eager for the resolution that was to follow. The storm may have raged, but Jack Harlan had weathered it with grit and determination, emerging victorious on the other side. As the authorities secured the scene, Jack allowed himself a moment of reflection. The journey had been perilous, fraught with danger at every turn, yet it had also been transformative. He had grown, not just as a radio operator, but as a person, his character forged in the crucible of adversity. Elena's safety was a balm to his weary soul, her presence a reminder of what he fought for. Together, they had unraveled a mystery that spanned decades, a tangled web of deceit and greed that had threatened to consume them both. Yet through it all, they had stood firm, their partnership a beacon of hope in the darkest of times. The storm began to abate, the winds losing their edge as the first light of dawn crept over the horizon. It was a new day, a fresh start, and with it came the promise of new adventures. Jack and Elena shared a moment of quiet triumph, their eyes meeting in a silent acknowledgement of all they had overcome. As the chapter drew to a close, the stage was set for the denouement, a seamless transition into the subsequent chapter. The mystery of the forgotten signal had been solved, but the world of shadows was vast, and Jack knew that new challenges awaited. Yet, with Elena by his side and the knowledge that truth always breaks through, he was ready to face whatever lay ahead. The storm raged like a wild beast, its fury unabated, as Jack Harlan and Elena Voss found themselves atop the precarious radio tower. The wind howled, whipping around them, while lightning illuminated the sky in jagged bursts, casting eerie shadows that danced across their faces. This was the moment they had been racing towards, the culmination of their relentless quest to decipher the cryptic Morse code message that had set them on this perilous path. Jack's mind raced, piecing together the final clue. The fourth key was not a tangible object, but a sequence of radio frequencies. It was a revelation that hit him like a bolt of lightning, setting the stage for a confrontation that would test every ounce of his cunning and resolve. As he shared this insight with Elena, the weight of their discovery hung heavy in the storm-laden air. Before them stood the syndicate's leader, a shadowy figure whose identity was a twist that cut deep. It was Jack's former partner, thought long gone, now revealed as the mastermind behind the criminal syndicate. The betrayal was a sharp, personal blow, adding an emotional edge to the impending showdown. "Jack," Elena's voice was steady despite the chaos surrounding them. "We have to end this." The confrontation erupted into a brutal fistfight, the storm providing a dramatic backdrop that emphasized the chaos and danger of the moment. The tower swayed under the relentless assault of the wind, each step a precarious dance on the edge of disaster. Jack's quick thinking and radio expertise became crucial as he fought not only for his life, but for justice. Amidst the struggle, Jack managed to outsmart the villains by broadcasting a fake standby signal. It was a clever use of the very skills that had defined his character throughout the story, and it proved to be their salvation. The authorities, drawn by the signal, arrived just in time to apprehend the syndicate members, bringing a sense of justice and resolution to the narrative. The capture of the villains was not just a physical victory, but a symbolic triumph of truth over deception. As the authorities took the syndicate members into custody, Jack and Elena stood together, the storm beginning to subside around them. The sense of relief was palpable, a testament to their perseverance and courage. Emotionally, this moment was pivotal. It was a confrontation with betrayal, a moment where Jack had to face the reality of his former partner's treachery. Yet, in thwarting the syndicate's plans, he found a measure of redemption. Elena's role as a steadfast ally was highlighted, reinforcing the bond between the two characters and setting the stage for their future adventures. The storm finally began to abate, the first light of dawn breaking over the horizon. It was a new beginning, a moment of clarity after the chaos. Jack and Elena stood side by side, knowing that they had not only solved the mystery, but had also uncovered a deeper truth. The true treasure lay in the hidden documents they had discovered, exposing widespread corruption and transforming their journey from a simple treasure hunt into a story of justice and moral integrity. As they descended the tower, the sense of accomplishment was undeniable. They had faced danger and deceit, yet emerged victorious. The capture of the villains was a testament to their courage and determination, a reminder that even in the darkest shadows, the truth will always find a way to shine through. The narrative flowed seamlessly into the next chapter, hinting at future challenges and mysteries. As Jack and Elena made their way back to the city, another faint signal teased new adventures on the horizon. It was a promise of more to come, a tantalizing hint of the mysteries that awaited them. This subchapter was essential, delivering a satisfying climax while maintaining the storytelling tone that had captivated readers from the beginning. Each event felt inevitable in hindsight, the logical culmination of the plot's intricate twists and turns. It was a story of betrayal and redemption, of courage and cunning, and above all, of the triumph of truth over deception. As they walked away from the tower, Jack couldn't help but reflect on the journey that had brought them here. The mysterious transmission that had started it all had changed everything, setting them on a path that had tested their mettle and forged an unbreakable bond between them. Elena looked at him, her eyes bright with the promise of future adventures. "What's next, Jack?" she asked, a smile playing on her lips. Jack chuckled, the weight of the past days lifting from his shoulders. "Who knows, Elena? But whatever it is, we'll face it together." And with that, they stepped into the dawn of a new day, ready to embrace whatever challenges lay ahead. The world of shadows was vast and full of secrets, but they were ready to stand by, knowing that the truth would always break through. The storm raged on, a tempest of nature mirroring the chaos within Jack Harlan's mind. Standing on the edge of the radio tower, he felt the cold rain lash against his face, each drop a reminder of the turbulent journey that had led him to this precarious moment. The realization that the fourth key was not a tangible object, but a radio frequency sequence, had shifted the stakes entirely. It was a revelation that could topple a corrupt empire, and the weight of that responsibility pressed heavily on Jack's shoulders. As lightning flashed across the sky, illuminating the storm-tossed sea, Jack's mind raced to decipher the frequency. The code, once unlocked, would reveal the location of a safe hidden deep within the lighthouse, containing documents that could expose the machinations of powerful figures involved in a notorious smuggling ring. But time was of the essence. Below, Elena Voss, his steadfast ally and the sharp-witted newspaper reporter who had been by his side throughout this perilous adventure, was held captive. Her fate hung in the balance, a constant reminder of what was at stake. The villains, led by Jack's former partner, were closing in, their intent clear: silence Jack permanently and secure their grip on the city. The tension was palpable, each second ticking away like a countdown to an inevitable confrontation. Jack knew he had to act swiftly and with precision. His sharp wit and radio expertise were his only weapons, and he intended to use them to their fullest potential. With a calmness that belied the storm around him, Jack quickly assembled a makeshift transmitter. The storm, with its natural interference, became an unwitting ally, masking his actions from the villains below. He broadcasted a fake standby signal, a masterstroke of deception that not only confounded his adversaries, but also served as a covert alert to the authorities, drawing them inexorably toward the lighthouse. The scene was set for a climactic showdown. As the shadows of the villains loomed larger with each flash of lightning, Jack braced himself for the inevitable confrontation. A brutal fistfight ensued atop the tower, the rain-soaked platform becoming a battleground where past betrayals and the relentless pursuit of justice collided. Jack and his former partner exchanged blows, their shared history adding a layer of emotional complexity to the physical conflict. Each punch, each parry was a testament to the tangled web of loyalty and betrayal that had brought them to this moment. Lightning illuminated the scene, casting dramatic shadows that mirrored the internal struggle Jack faced. The betrayal of a friend, the weight of responsibility, and the relentless pursuit of justice all converged in this singular moment of reckoning. Yet, even amidst the chaos, Jack's resolve never wavered. He fought not just for himself, but for Elena, for the truth, and for the countless lives that would be affected by the revelations contained in the hidden documents. As the authorities arrived, responding to Jack's cleverly orchestrated signal, the villains found themselves outmaneuvered, their plans unraveled, their ambitions thwarted by Jack's cunning and determination. The hidden documents, once secured in the safe, were revealed to contain damning evidence of widespread corruption, linking powerful figures to the smuggling ring. It was a bittersweet victory for Jack, who understood that the personal cost of his quest was high, yet necessary for the greater good. With the villains captured and justice served, Jack turned his attention to Elena, who had been freed from her captors. Together, they watched the dawn break over the storm-tossed sea, the first rays of sunlight heralding a new beginning. The resolution of the mystery brought a moment of quiet reflection, a chance for Jack to consider the journey's impact on his life and the lives of those around him. It was a moment of introspection, a chance to reconcile the personal sacrifices made with the broader impact of their actions. Their partnership, tested and proven in the crucible of danger, promised new adventures on the horizon. As they stood side by side, the bond forged through shared adversity was stronger than ever. Elena, with her sharp wit and unwavering courage, had become an indispensable ally, and together they looked to the future with a sense of optimism and readiness for whatever challenges lay ahead. This chapter serves as the emotional and narrative climax of Jack's journey, weaving together the threads of intrigue, action, and character development that have defined his adventure. It captures the essence of the mystery genre, delivering a satisfying conclusion that remains true to the characters while setting the stage for future explorations of Jack and Elena's world. The true treasure, it seems, was not the hidden documents or the exposed corruption, but the enduring friendship and partnership that emerged from the shadows. As the sun rose higher, casting a warm glow over the lighthouse, Jack and Elena knew that their story was far from over. The world of shadows held many secrets, and they were ready to face them together. In the quiet aftermath of the storm, they understood that in the world of shadows, the brave stand by, and the truth always breaks through. Chapter 7. Dawn over the Signal. The first rays of dawn painted the sky with hues of orange and pink as Jack and Elena stood by the lighthouse, the waves gently lapping at the shore. Justice had been served, and the syndicate that once loomed over the city was no more. Jack took a deep breath, reflecting on the whirlwind of events that began with a single mysterious transmission. Hard to believe it all started with a few dots and dashes, Jack mused, glancing at Elena. Her eyes sparkled with a mix of relief and anticipation. I never imagined a simple radio signal would lead to such an adventure. Elena chuckled, brushing a strand of hair from her face. Or that I'd end up dodging bullets and cracking codes with a radio operator. Their laughter mingled with the sound of the sea, a testament to the bond forged through peril and discovery. As the sun climbed higher, Jack considered the possibilities ahead. The thrill of uncovering secrets had ignited a fire within him, and he knew this was just the beginning. Think of it this way, he said, pointing to the horizon where another faint signal flickered. There's always a new mystery waiting to be solved. Elena nodded, her determination undiminished. And with the truth on our side, we'll be ready for whatever comes next. The lighthouse stood silent, a sentinel over the coast, as Jack and Elena walked away, their silhouettes merging with the dawn. In the world of shadows, the brave stand by, and the truth always breaks through. A new adventure awaited, just beyond the horizon, the calm before the storm. As the first light of dawn crept over the horizon, Jack and Elena found themselves in a small, nondescript safe house nestled between the towering pines of the coastal city. The previous night's events had left them both physically and emotionally drained, yet there was a palpable sense of hope in the air. Jack sat at a makeshift workbench, his fingers deftly adjusting the dials of the radio equipment that had become both a lifeline and a weapon in their fight against the syndicate. Nearby, Elena, her face marked by a fresh bruise, pored over the pile of documents they had risked everything to obtain. "This is it, Jack," Elena said, her voice tinged with determination. "These documents are the key to bringing them down. We just need to get this out to the world." Jack nodded, his eyes never leaving the radio. "We'll make sure everyone hears it. By the time we're done, there won't be a corner of this city where they can hide." Outside, the world was waking up, blissfully unaware of the storm that was about to break over it. But within the confines of the safe house, the air was charged with the anticipation of justice about to be served. Broadcasting justice. As the first rays of sunlight touched the city, Jack and Elena made their way to an old, abandoned radio station on the outskirts of town. The station, a relic of a bygone era, stood as a testament to the power of communication and the truth it could wield. Dust-covered dials and faded maps adorned the walls, whispering stories of past broadcasts that had once filled the airwaves. Jack set up the equipment with practiced precision, his hands moving with a confidence born of necessity. As he began to broadcast the coded message, Elena's voice rose clear and unwavering, cutting through the morning mist like a clarion call for justice. Her words painted a damning picture of the syndicate's crimes, reaching out across the airwaves to law enforcement, media outlets, and the citizens of the city. "To all who can hear this," Elena began, "the truth is out. The syndicate that has cast its shadow over our city is finally exposed. We call upon you to stand with us and bring these criminals to justice." The message, carried by the invisible tendrils of radio waves, ignited a citywide manhunt. The response was immediate, as if the entire city had been holding its breath, waiting for this moment to exhale. The arrests, as the sun climbed higher in the sky, the city buzzed with activity. Police sirens wailed through the streets, converging on the locations where the syndicate's leaders were known to hide. In a coordinated sweep, the long arm of the law, reached out to snatch the criminals from their lairs. The shipping magnate, a man whose wealth had been built on the backs of others, was caught attempting to flee the city. His desperate escape plan foiled, he was led away in handcuffs, his empire crumbling around him. The nervous inventor, a man whose genius had been twisted to serve darker purposes, was arrested in his workshop, surrounded by the tools of his trade. Other key players, each with their own story of greed and ambition, were rounded up, their reign of terror finally at an end. From a distance, Jack and Elena watched as justice was meted out. The weight of their actions settled over them, a mix of relief and exhaustion etched into their features. They exchanged a glance, a silent acknowledgement of the role they had played in this momentous day, a moment of reflection. With the city slowly returning to normalcy, Jack and Elena found themselves drawn back to the lighthouse. The place where their journey had begun now stood as a beacon of hope rather than mystery. The morning sky stretched above them, a canvas painted with the colors of a new beginning. Jack leaned against the railing, his gaze lost in the horizon. "It's hard to believe how much has changed," he mused. All it took was one mysterious transmission to set everything in motion. Elena, standing beside him, nodded thoughtfully. "This adventure has been more than just a story for the newspaper," she said. "It's a tale worth telling, one that could inspire others to stand against the shadows." The idea of writing a book about their experiences took root in Elena's mind, a way to capture the essence of their shared journey and the lessons they had learned along the way. Setting the stage for future adventures, as they prepared to leave the lighthouse behind, a familiar crackle erupted from Jack's radio. The faint signal, barely discernible, hinted at a new mystery waiting to be unraveled. Jack and Elena exchanged a knowing smile, their partnership solidified by the trials they had overcome. "Looks like our work isn't done yet," Jack said, a hint of excitement in his voice. Elena laughed, the sound bright and full of promise. "I wouldn't have it any other way," she replied. The subchapter concluded with a sense of optimism, a readiness for whatever challenges lay ahead. As they walked away from the lighthouse, their footsteps echoed with the promise of new adventures, leaving readers eager for the next chapter in Jack and Elena's story. The lighthouse stood silent against the backdrop of a serene dawn, its once tumultuous surroundings now calm and inviting. Jack Harlan and Elena Voss found themselves on the lighthouse balcony, the scene of the initial mysterious transmission that had set their whirlwind adventure in motion. The storm had passed, leaving a crisp air that carried the scent of the sea, and the first light of dawn painted the sky in soft pastels, casting a golden hue over the coastal city. Jack, still in his rumpled clothes from the previous night's escapades, leaned against the railing, his eyes scanning the horizon. The weight of the past few days seemed to lift with the morning breeze. Beside him, Elena, her notebook in hand, was jotting down notes for her upcoming article. This moment of tranquility was a stark contrast to the chaos they had recently faced, a much-needed pause that allowed them to process the events that had unfolded. As Jack gazed out at the calm sea, he reflected on how a single faint Morse code message had led him on a journey filled with danger, intrigue, and unexpected alliances. "It's funny," he began, breaking the comfortable silence, "how a few taps on a radio can change everything. That message, it reignited something in me." Elena looked up from her notes, her eyes meeting his. "I can see that," she replied with a smile. "You've got a knack for this sleuthing business. It's like you were born for it." Jack chuckled, a hint of nostalgia in his voice. "I suppose I had forgotten how much I loved the thrill of the chase. This adventure, it's given me a newfound sense of purpose." Elena nodded, her expression thoughtful. "And for me, it's been an incredible story to tell. I never imagined I'd be part of something so thrilling. My readers will be captivated." Their conversation was punctuated by moments of silence, where both characters simply enjoyed the peacefulness of the moment. It was a time for introspection and acknowledgement of their growth. Jack realized that despite the risks, he wouldn't change a thing. The adventure had brought him a trusted ally in Elena and a deeper understanding of his capabilities. Elena, meanwhile, considered how the events had not only provided material for her writing, but had also strengthened her resolve to uncover the truth, no matter the cost. Elena said, breaking the silence. I think this is just the beginning. There are so many stories out there, waiting to be uncovered. Jack nodded, his gaze still fixed on the horizon. And there's no one I'd rather have by my side than you. We've made a good team. The sun rose higher, casting its warm glow over the lighthouse, and they began to discuss the future. They talked about potential new mysteries and the possibility of working together again. There was a sense of camaraderie and mutual respect, a bond forged in the crucible of danger and shared experiences. Imagine, Jack mused, what other secrets this city holds. More often than not, the truth is stranger than fiction. Elena laughed, her eyes shining with excitement. Well, if there's one thing I've learned, it's to expect the unexpected and to always have my notebook ready. Their conversation flowed naturally, each word a testament to the trust and friendship they had built. As they talked, Jack spotted a faint signal on his radio, similar to the one that had started their adventure. He and Elena exchanged a knowing glance, a silent agreement that their story wasn't over yet. This moment served as a bridge to future adventures, leaving readers with a sense of anticipation and excitement for what was to come. As they stood there, the lighthouse a silent witness to their pact, Jack couldn't help but feel a deep sense of satisfaction. The journey had been perilous, but it had also been rewarding. He had faced his fears, uncovered truths, and found a kindred spirit in Elena. More importantly, he had rediscovered a part of himself that he thought was lost forever. Elena, too, felt a renewed sense of purpose. The adventure had been more than just a story. It had been a test of her courage and determination. She had faced danger head-on, and in doing so, had proven to herself that she was capable of more than she had ever imagined. The experience had not only enriched her career, but had also enriched her life. As the sun continued its ascent, bathing the lighthouse in a warm glow, Jack and Elena stood together, united by their shared experiences and the promise of future adventures. The quiet moment at the lighthouse was essential for providing closure to the current adventure while setting the stage for future escapades. It emphasized the themes of courage, truth, and the enduring power of friendship, leaving readers satisfied yet eager for more. In the world of shadows, the brave stand by, and the truth always breaks through. For Jack and Elena, this was just the beginning. The horizon was full of possibilities, and they were ready to face whatever came next, together. As the first light of dawn breaks over the horizon, the storm that had once raged fiercely now settles into a calm, painting the sky with hues of orange and pink. Jack Harlan and Elena Voss stand on the bluff overlooking the lighthouse, their faces lit by the gentle glow of the rising sun. This serene moment offers them a chance to breathe and reflect on the whirlwind of events that have just unfolded, setting the scene. Jack leans against the railing, his mind racing through the memories of the past few days. He recalls the initial thrill of the mysterious Morse code message, the adrenaline-pumping chases, and the danger lurking at every corner. Yet, amidst the chaos, he found an unexpected ally in Elena. This reflection leads him to ponder how much he has changed. Once a solitary radio operator, he now sees the value of partnership and trust. Elena, with her notebook in hand, jots down her thoughts. She considers the courage it took to dive into the unknown, driven by a reporter's instinct to uncover the truth. Her journey alongside Jack has not only been about solving a mystery, but also about personal growth and understanding the power of collaboration. She reflects on the trust they built and how it has fortified her resolve to pursue stories with greater tenacity. Jack's introspection. As Jack gazes at the horizon, he feels a profound sense of transformation. The adventure has tested his limits and reshaped his understanding of his own capabilities. He remembers the thrill of decoding the cryptic message, the rush of adrenaline during the chases, and the constant shadow of danger. But above all, it was the companionship of Elena that left a lasting impact. Her unwavering determination and sharp instincts complemented his own skills perfectly, teaching him the value of teamwork and trust. He muses on how this experience has altered his perspective. Once a solitary figure, content with the solitude of his radio room, Jack now appreciates the strength found in alliances. He realizes that while the world is filled with shadows, having someone to stand by your side makes the journey not only bearable, but exhilarating, Elena's perspective. For Elena, this adventure has been a testament to her courage and resilience. As she scribbles notes in her trusty notebook, she reflects on the journey from a curious reporter to an integral part of a mystery-solving duo. Her instincts had led her into the heart of danger, but it was her partnership with Jack that truly defined the experience. She recalls the pivotal moments, the narrow escapes, the coded messages, and the shared glances of understanding. These experiences have not only honed her skills as a journalist, but have also deepened her appreciation for the power of collaboration. She realizes that while her pursuit of truth is a solitary endeavor, the journey is enriched by the connections she forges along the way. Unspoken bond. The narrative delves into the unspoken bond that has formed between Jack and Elena. They exchange a knowing glance, filled with shared experiences and mutual respect. This moment is pivotal as it cements their friendship and hints at future adventures they might embark on together. Their camaraderie, forged in the heat of danger, becomes a cornerstone for their characters' development. It's a bond that doesn't require words, a connection that transcends the need for explanation. In the quiet moments as the sun rises and the world awakens, they find solace in each other's presence. This unspoken understanding is a testament to the transformative power of shared experiences and the enduring nature of true friendship. Lessons learned. Both characters take a moment to articulate the lessons they've learned. Jack acknowledges the importance of stepping out of his comfort zone and embracing the unknown, while Elena highlights the significance of integrity and courage in the face of adversity. These reflections are not only personal, but also serve as a broader message to the readers about the enduring power of truth and bravery. Jack's journey has taught him that life's greatest adventures often begin with a single, unexpected signal. He understands now that embracing the unknown can lead to profound discoveries, both about the world and oneself. Elena, on the other hand, has learned that the pursuit of truth requires not just courage, but also the willingness to trust others and work together towards a common goal. Foreshadowing future adventures, as they turn to leave, a faint signal crackles through Jack's portable radio. It's a subtle yet tantalizing hint of another mystery on the horizon. This moment is crafted to leave readers with a sense of anticipation and excitement for what lies ahead, ensuring a smooth transition into the epilogue and potential sequels. The signal is a reminder that the world is full of mysteries waiting to be uncovered, and that their journey is far from over. It promises new challenges, new discoveries, and new adventures that will test their resolve and deepen their bond even further. Emotional closure. The subchapter concludes with Jack and Elena walking back towards the city, their silhouettes framed by the rising sun. There is a sense of closure, yet an undeniable promise of new beginnings. This ending encapsulates the essence of the story: adventure, friendship, and the relentless pursuit of truth. As they walk side by side, their footsteps echoing softly in the morning light, they carry with them the memories of their adventure and the hope of what lies ahead. It's a moment of peace and reflection, a pause before the next chapter of their lives begins. The sun rises higher, casting a warm glow over the city, and with it, a new day full of possibilities. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows over the bustling coastal city, Jack Harlan stood by his radio set, the rhythmic tapping of Morse code his only companion. The storm outside lashed against the windows, each gust of wind a reminder of the night's promise of adventure. Jack, a sharp-witted radio operator, was no stranger to the mysteries that often crackled through his headphones, but tonight felt different. It was as if the storm itself was whispering secrets, urging him to listen closely. Suddenly, the static gave way to a faint, cryptic message. "Stand by, shadows rise, the fourth key unlocks doom." The signal was barely audible, like a ghostly whisper from the past, and then it was gone, swallowed by the storm. Jack's heart raced. He knew he couldn't ignore this. It was a call to action, a puzzle begging to be solved. Driven by curiosity and a sense of duty, Jack traced the signal to an abandoned lighthouse, its silhouette looming against the stormy sky. The lighthouse had long been a fixture of local legends, rumored to be a haven for smugglers in the Roaring Twenties. As Jack approached, the wind howled through the rocky cliffs, and the sea crashed violently below, setting the perfect stage for the unknown. Inside, the air was thick with the scent of salt and decay. Jack's flashlight beam cut through the darkness, revealing signs of recent activity. Fresh footprints in the dust and a hidden transmitter cleverly concealed behind a stack of crates. His pulse quickened. Someone else had been here and recently, but who and why? Before he could ponder further, a noise echoed through the lighthouse. Jack turned just in time to see a shadowy figure darting through the gloom. Instinct kicked in, and he gave chase, the thrill of the pursuit mingling with the danger of the unknown. The figure was fast, slipping through the shadows like a wraith. Jack's breath came in ragged bursts as he pursued, but the figure vanished into the night, leaving only the echo of footsteps behind. Breathing heavily, Jack leaned against the cold stone wall, his mind racing. That's when he spotted it, a torn map fragment, yellowed with age, peeking out from beneath a loose floorboard. Carefully, he retrieved it, his fingers tracing the faded lines and cryptic annotations. The map hinted at a long-lost treasure, tied to a forgotten 1920s smuggling ring. It was a clue, a breadcrumb leading to something much larger. With the storm raging outside, Jack knew he needed help. The mystery was too big for one man alone. Enter Elena Voss, a plucky newspaper reporter with a nose for scoops and a knack for getting into trouble. Jack had crossed paths with Elena before, her fast-talking, no-nonsense demeanor a perfect match for his methodical approach. Together, they made an unlikely but effective team. As they pored over the map in the flickering candlelight of Jack's modest apartment, the storm continued its relentless assault outside. The map, they realized, was only part of the puzzle. The cryptic message, the fourth key, referred to Chapter 4 of a secret ledger used by a criminal syndicate operating under the guise of a shipping company. It was a lead, a thread they could pull to unravel the mystery, but they weren't the only ones interested in the message. As they delved deeper, suspicious characters began to emerge from the shadows. There was the suave shipping magnate with a smile too slick to trust, the nervous inventor with a penchant for secrecy, and the silent enforcer who seemed to be everywhere and nowhere at once. Each had a role to play, their motives as murky as the fog that clung to the city's docks. Jack and Elena found themselves followed, their every move shadowed by unseen eyes. The tension was palpable, each step through the foggy streets a dance with danger. It all came to a head when a speeding car barreled down the narrow alleyway, forcing them to dive for cover. The message was clear. They were getting too close. Undeterred, the duo pressed on, their resolve strengthened by the near miss. They broke into the magnate's waterfront warehouse under the cover of night, the air thick with the scent of salt and secrecy. Inside, they discovered coded documents and old photographs, relics of a 1920s expedition that hinted at a legendary lost cargo of gold and artifacts sunk during Prohibition. But it was the strange device resembling an early radio direction finder that caught Jack's attention. It was a clue, a piece of modern radio tech being used to locate the treasure. Their discovery was interrupted by the sudden appearance of a guard, his flashlight beam slicing through the darkness. A confrontation ensued, and soon Jack and Elena found themselves in a heart-pounding chase across the rooftops, the city's skyline a blur beneath their feet. The thrill of the chase was intoxicating, but danger was never far behind. As they caught their breath, the realization dawned on them. The shadows referred to the legendary lost cargo, and someone was using the latest technology to find it. But before they could piece together the full picture, the warehouse doors slammed shut, trapping them inside. Gas began to fill the room, a noxious cloud that threatened to end their adventure before it truly began. With time running out, Jack's mind raced. He remembered the trapdoor he'd spotted earlier, a potential escape route hidden beneath a stack of crates. Together, they managed to pry it open, the cool night air a welcome relief as they tumbled into the alleyway below. But their escape came at a cost. Overhead, they overheard the villain's plan. The fourth key was a final coordinate, the last piece of the puzzle that would reveal the treasure's exact location. The chase was on. A high-stakes boat pursuit across choppy waters ensued. The roar of engines and the crash of waves, a symphony of adrenaline. A shootout on a foggy pier followed, the air thick with gunpowder and tension. Amidst the chaos, Jack decoded the full message. the pieces of the puzzle falling into place. The syndicate's plan was clear. Use the treasure to fund a larger criminal empire, a shadowy force that threatened to engulf the city. But the night held one final twist. In a moment of betrayal, Elena was kidnapped, whisked away by a supposed ally turned foe. Her absence was a blow, a reminder of the stakes they faced. Yet Jack's resolve was unshaken. He would find her, and together, they would see this mystery through to the end. And so as dawn approached, Jack stood by the water's edge, the horizon tinged with the first light of a new day. The adventure was far from over, and the shadows still loomed large. But he was ready to face whatever lay ahead, to unravel the mystery of the forgotten signal, and to uncover the truth that lay hidden in the shadows. Chapter 8: Reflections and New Beginnings. As the golden hues of dawn spilled over the city, Jack found himself lost in thought. The adventure had been nothing short of extraordinary, filled with unexpected twists and the thrill of danger. He realized how much he had changed, not just as a sleuth, but as a person. The bonds formed with Elena and others along the way were a testament to the power of shared experiences. Elena, ever the storyteller, was inspired to capture their journey in a book. Imagine the headlines. "Jack," she mused, her eyes sparkling with excitement. A tale of mystery, courage, and discovery. People need to hear it. The conversation naturally shifted to the future. "What's next for us?" Elena asked, her voice tinged with curiosity. Jack smiled, considering the endless possibilities. There are always new mysteries waiting to be unraveled. Perhaps another signal, another clue. In practice, their adventure had taught them invaluable lessons. It was a reminder that life's unpredictability often leads to the most rewarding outcomes. They had learned to trust their instincts, rely on each other, and embrace the unknown with open hearts. As they stood there, watching the sun rise over the horizon, a sense of hope enveloped them. The world was full of secrets, and they were ready to uncover them, one mystery at a time. In the realm of shadows, Jack and Elena knew they would always stand by each other, ready for whatever challenges lay ahead. As the first rays of dawn pierced through the remnants of the storm, Jack Harlan stood on the edge of the lighthouse, the salty breeze tugging at his coat. The adventure that had begun with a cryptic Morse code message had led him down a path of danger, intrigue, and revelation. But now, as the city stirred awake beneath the soft glow of the morning sun, Jack found himself reflecting on the profound impact this journey had on his life. One thing that becomes clear when embarking on such an adventure is the transformation it brings. Jack, once a solitary figure hunched over his radio, had become a part of a larger narrative. His sharp wit and radio expertise had been tested against the cunning of a criminal syndicate, but more importantly, he had formed an unbreakable bond with Elena Voss. Their partnership was forged in the heat of pursuit and the chill of uncertainty, and it was this alliance that had ultimately led to their success. Furthermore, the adventure had reshaped Jack's understanding of his own capabilities. Generally speaking, people often underestimate their potential until circumstances force them to confront their limits. For Jack, the stakes were high, and the lessons learned were invaluable. He discovered that his skills went beyond deciphering Morse code. He had a knack for strategic thinking, quick decision-making, and a resilience that surprised even him. A good example of this newfound resilience was during the harrowing escape from the gas-filled warehouse. Trapped and seemingly out of options, Jack's ability to remain calm and think on his feet was crucial. He had used his knowledge of the building's layout to find the trapdoor, leading them to safety. This moment of clarity under pressure was a testament to how the adventure had honed his instincts. The important thing to remember about such transformative experiences is how they redefine one's perspective on life. Before the adventure, Jack's world was confined to the radio waves and the occasional mystery that piqued his curiosity. Now, he saw the city differently, a place teeming with stories waiting to be uncovered, shadows waiting to be illuminated. The adventure had instilled in him a sense of purpose, a drive to seek out the truth in the most obscure corners of the city. Moreover, the impact of the adventure extended beyond Jack himself. Elena, too, was changed by their journey. She had always been a determined reporter, but the experiences they shared had deepened her resolve to uncover the truth and hold the powerful accountable. Together, they had exposed a criminal syndicate and thwarted a plan that could have had dire consequences for the city. Their efforts not only brought justice, but also inspired others to stand against corruption and deception. In a broader sense, the adventure underscored the power of collaboration. Jack and Elena's partnership was a prime example of how different skills and perspectives can complement each other, leading to outcomes that neither could achieve alone. This lesson is applicable in many areas of life, whether in personal relationships or professional endeavors. The synergy between them was palpable, and it was this dynamic that had propelled them through the darkest moments of their quest. Reflecting on the events, Jack realized that the adventure had also rekindled his sense of wonder. The world was full of mysteries, and he was now more attuned to the subtle signals that hinted at hidden stories. This awareness was not just about solving puzzles, but about appreciating the complexity and interconnectedness of the world around him. Every whisper of the wind, every shadow cast by the rising sun, seemed to hold secrets waiting to be unveiled. As Jack and Elena stood together at the lighthouse, the impact of their journey was evident in their unspoken understanding. They had faced danger, deception, and betrayal, but they had emerged stronger and more united. The adventure had tested their limits, but it had also shown them the boundless possibilities that lay ahead. Elena, ever the storyteller, considered writing a book about their experiences. The tale of their adventure was not just a story of mystery and intrigue, but a testament to courage, friendship, and the relentless pursuit of truth. It was a narrative that could inspire others to look beyond the surface, to question the status quo, and to stand by their convictions even when the odds seemed insurmountable. The impact of the adventure was meaningful in ways that went beyond the immediate thrill of the chase. It had set Jack and Elena on a path of continuous discovery, a journey that promised new challenges and opportunities. They both knew that the city was full of untold stories, and as long as there were shadows to be explored, they would be there, ready to uncover the truth. In the end, the adventure was not just a chapter in their lives, but a catalyst for growth and change. It had reshaped their identities, strengthened their bond, and opened their eyes to the potential within themselves and each other. As they watched the sunrise, they were filled with a sense of hope and readiness for whatever lay ahead. The important thing to remember is that adventures, whether grand or small, have the power to transform us. They challenge us, teach us, and ultimately, they help us become who we are meant to be. For Jack Harlan and Elena Voss, the mystery of the forgotten signal was more than just a case to solve. It was a journey of self-discovery and a testament to the enduring power of courage and camaraderie. As the sun continued its ascent, casting a warm glow over the city, Jack and Elena knew that their story was far from over. The world was full of mysteries, and they were ready to face them together. In the world of shadows, they would stand by each other, knowing that the truth always breaks through. The morning sun painted the coastal cafe in warm hues, a stark contrast to the stormy nights Jack and Elena had recently navigated. Seated at their favorite spot, they watched the city come alive, the gentle clatter of cups and the soft murmur of conversations providing a soothing backdrop. It was here, amidst the tranquility, that Elena shared an idea that had been brewing in her mind. "Jack, I've been thinking," Elena began, her eyes bright with excitement. "What if we document everything that's happened? Our journey, the mystery, the people we met, all of it." Her voice carried a blend of enthusiasm and purpose, a reflection of how far she had come from being a determined reporter to an inspired storyteller. Jack leaned back in his chair, a slight smile playing on his lips. He admired Elena's passion, seeing how she envisioned their adventure as more than just a thrilling escapade. For her, it was a testament to bravery and resilience, a narrative that explored the human spirit's capacity to overcome fear and uncertainty. She imagined weaving their tale into the historical tapestry of the 1930s coastal city, a backdrop rich with intrigue and allure. "I want to capture the essence of what we went through," Elena continued, her voice steady with conviction. "Not just the mystery, but the themes of trust, betrayal, and redemption. It's about honoring the courage we showed, the risks we took." Jack listened intently, nodding as he reflected on their journey. The adventure had been more than a series of events. It had been a catalyst for change, an opportunity to confront his past and redefine his future. The mystery had brought them together, forging a bond in the fires of danger and discovery. "What do you think should be included?" Elena asked, breaking Jack's reverie. He considered her question thoughtfully. "Focus on the moments that tested us," he suggested, like the rooftop chase and the showdown at the radio tower. And don't forget the people we encountered. They shaped our path, both allies and adversaries. As they brainstormed, Elena jotted down notes with swift, confident strokes of her pen. She pondered how to frame the narrative, debating whether to present it as a factual account or a fictionalized version inspired by true events. Jack encouraged her to follow her instincts, reminding her that authenticity and heart often resonate most powerfully. Their conversation was punctuated by moments of laughter and nostalgia as they recalled lighter episodes from their adventure. These reflections provided a necessary balance to the darker elements of their story, infusing it with hope and resilience. Elena felt a surge of inspiration and motivation, ready to embark on this new journey as an author. Jack, too, was filled with a renewed sense of purpose, eager to see where their shared path would lead next. As they left the cafe, the air was thick with the promise of new mysteries and adventures. Elena's idea for the book wasn't just about recounting their escapades. It was about exploring the deeper themes that had emerged during their adventure. Trust had been a central theme, tested repeatedly as they navigated a web of deception. Betrayal had lurked in unexpected places, a reminder of the shadows that can exist even in the brightest of days. Yet amidst the chaos, redemption had been a beacon, guiding them toward a future filled with possibilities. Jack and Elena had faced numerous challenges that had pushed them to their limits. The rooftop chase, a heart-pounding sprint across the city's skyline, had tested their courage and ingenuity. The tense showdown at the radio tower had been a crucible of tension and resolve, a moment where everything hung in the balance. Equally important were the people they met along the way. Allies had emerged from unexpected quarters, their support invaluable. Adversaries, too, had played their part, their actions shaping the course of events. Each encounter had added a layer of complexity to their journey, enriching the narrative Elena hoped to craft. As Elena considered how to structure the book, she realized that the decision between a factual account and a fictionalized narrative was more than a stylistic choice. It was about capturing the essence of their experience, about conveying the truth with authenticity and heart. Jack's advice echoed in her mind, a reminder that the most powerful stories are those told with sincerity. Their discussion at the cafe had been more than a brainstorming session. It had been a moment of reflection, a chance to look back on how far they had come. It was a reminder of the journey they had undertaken, the risks they had embraced, and the growth they had experienced. As they walked away from the cafe, the city bustling around them, Elena felt a sense of anticipation. The idea of writing a book was daunting, yet exhilarating. It was a new adventure, a new mystery to unravel. And just like their previous escapades, it was a journey she was eager to embark upon. Jack, too, felt a renewed sense of purpose. The adventure had changed him, had opened his eyes to new possibilities. He was no longer just a radio operator, an amateur sleuth. He was a partner, a co-adventurer, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. The morning sun continued to cast its warm glow, a symbol of the transition from chaos to calm. As Jack and Elena walked into the future, the promise of new mysteries and adventures lingered in the air, setting the stage for future explorations. This chapter marked a turning point, solidifying the characters' growth and setting the tone for their future endeavors. Elena's newfound passion for storytelling and Jack's acceptance of his role as both a sleuth and a partner were key revelations. The journey had been transformative, and the potential that lay ahead was both exciting and daunting. As they moved forward, the lessons learned from their adventure would guide them. Trust, betrayal, and redemption were not just themes of their story, but principles that would shape their future. The emotional journey of reflection and anticipation was just beginning. promising a future filled with hope and readiness for new challenges. The morning sun cast a warm glow over the bustling coastal city, painting the scene with hues of promise and new beginnings. Jack and Elena sat on the balcony of a quaint seaside cafe, the gentle murmur of the waves providing a soothing backdrop to their conversation. The aroma of freshly brewed coffee mingled with the salty sea breeze, creating an atmosphere ripe for reflection and contemplation. Jack, his eyes twinkling with a blend of mischief and newfound purpose, leaned back in his chair. "Who would have thought I'd have a knack for sleuthing?" he quipped, a grin spreading across his face. "I always figured I'd stick to Morse code and radio waves, not dodging bullets and solving mysteries." Elena chuckled, her gaze drifting over the horizon. "You've got the makings of a detective, Jack, and I've got the story of a lifetime, thanks to you." She paused, her expression turning thoughtful. "I'm thinking of turning our adventure into a book. Can you imagine? The Mystery of the Forgotten Signal. It has quite the ring to it." Jack's interest piqued, and he leaned forward. "A book, huh? I'd read that. But what about us, Elena? What comes next?" The question hung in the air, inviting a deeper dive into their aspirations. Elena took a sip of her coffee, considering her response. "Well, this experience has changed me. I've always loved seeing stories, but this adventure, it's awakened something else. A desire to uncover truths, to solve puzzles. Maybe we could team up, form a partnership of sorts. You, with your radio expertise and wit, and me, with my nose for a good scoop. What do you say?" Jack nodded, the idea resonating with him. "I like the sound of that. The thrill of the chase, the satisfaction of piecing together a mystery, it's addictive. And working with you, well, it's been quite the ride." The conversation took on a more introspective tone as they reflected on the impact of their recent adventure. Jack's thoughts drifted to the friendships forged and the trust built with Elena. "You know," he began, "when I first picked up that cryptic Morse code message, I had no idea it would lead to all of this. But I'm grateful it did. We've been through a lot, and I've come to trust you more than anyone." Elena smiled, her eyes softening. "And I admire your bravery, Jack. Your quick thinking saved us more times than I can count. It's not just about solving mysteries. It's about the people we meet along the way and the bonds we form." As they spoke, the city around them began to stir, a metaphor for the new beginnings they were contemplating. The streets buzzed with life, vendors setting up their stalls, and the distant sound of a ship's horn echoed across the water. "So what do we do now?" Jack asked, a hint of excitement in his voice. Elena looked out at the ocean, her mind racing with possibilities. "We keep our eyes open for the next great mystery. There's always another adventure waiting, another story to uncover, and we do it together." Jack stood up, offering Elena his hand. "Then it's settled. We make a pact to stay in touch, to always be on the lookout for the next puzzle to solve." They shook hands, a gesture that felt both formal and deeply personal. There was a sense of excitement and anticipation in the air, a feeling that their story was far from over. As they parted ways, Jack couldn't help but feel a surge of hope and readiness for whatever challenges lay ahead. The important thing to remember, he realized, was that their journey had only just begun. The city, with its secrets and shadows, was a playground for those daring enough to seek the truth. Elena watched Jack disappear into the crowd, her mind already spinning with ideas for their next adventure. The impact of their shared experience was meaningful, shaping not only their future plans, but also their understanding of themselves and each other. The chapter closed with a sense of optimism, a promise of new challenges and discoveries. In the world of shadows and signals, Jack and Elena were ready to stand by, ever vigilant, ever curious. And as the sun continued to rise over the city, they knew that whatever mysteries awaited, they would face them together. The storm had barely subsided, leaving the coastal city veiled in a damp mist that clung to everything it touched. As the first light of dawn crept over the horizon, Jack Harlan stood at the edge of the pier, his mind racing with the events of the past few days. Hope and readiness for new challenges filled his thoughts, a blend of anticipation and determination that seemed to mirror the restless waves crashing against the harbor walls. Jack's journey had begun with a mysterious Morse code message, but it had quickly spiraled into a tangled web of secrets, danger, and unexpected alliances. Now, as he prepared to face whatever lay ahead, he knew that his experience as a radio operator and amateur sleuth had equipped him with the skills he needed to confront the unknown. In the world of shadows, where every clue could be a trap and every ally a potential foe, Jack had learned to trust his instincts. His partnership with Elena Voss, the sharp-witted newspaper reporter, had been a revelation. Together, they had unraveled a criminal syndicate's plot, navigated treacherous waters, and uncovered a treasure trove of hidden documents that exposed corruption at the highest levels. Yet, amidst the chaos, there had been moments of clarity. Instances where hope had shone through the darkness like a beacon guiding a ship to safety. It was in these moments that Jack found the strength to push forward, to believe that even the most daunting challenges could be overcome with perseverance and a bit of ingenuity. As Jack reflected on the recent adventure, he realized that readiness for new challenges wasn't just about having the right tools or allies. It was about cultivating a mindset that embraced uncertainty and welcomed the unexpected. To demonstrate, consider the night at the warehouse when Jack and Elena had been trapped with gas filling the room. Instead of succumbing to panic, they had used their combined knowledge and quick thinking to escape through a hidden trapdoor, turning a dire situation into an opportunity for discovery. This ability to adapt and innovate was a critical element in their success. Jack had come to appreciate the power of collaboration, recognizing that different perspectives could illuminate solutions that might otherwise remain hidden. Elena's journalistic instincts and tenacity had often complemented his technical prowess, allowing them to piece together clues that might have been overlooked by a lone investigator. Taking this further, Jack understood that hope was not a passive emotion, but an active force that propelled him forward. It was the belief that every challenge held the potential for growth and that every setback was a stepping stone to greater understanding. This mindset was exemplified during the boat pursuit across choppy waters, where Jack's ability to decode the full message under pressure had turned the tide in their favor. As the sun rose higher, casting a warm glow over the city, Jack felt a renewed sense of purpose. The adventure had tested him in ways he hadn't anticipated, but it had also reinforced his commitment to uncovering the truth and seeking justice. He knew that there would be more mysteries to solve, more signals to decode, and more shadows to stand by. To prepare for the challenges ahead, Jack planned to hone his skills further. He would delve deeper into the art of radio communication, exploring new techniques and technologies that could give him an edge in future investigations. He would also continue to build his network of contacts, forging alliances with those who shared his passion for uncovering the hidden and the forgotten. Experience shows that the potential for growth is significant when one is open to learning and adapting. Jack's journey had taught him the value of resilience and the importance of staying curious. He knew that each new challenge would bring opportunities to refine his craft and expand his understanding of the world around him. Moreover, Jack's partnership with Elena had underscored the importance of trust and camaraderie. Together, they had navigated perilous situations and emerged stronger for it. As they stood side by side, watching the sunrise, Jack felt grateful for the bond they had forged and the adventures they had shared. He knew that their combined strengths would be invaluable in whatever lay ahead. In the end, the key to facing new challenges lay in the balance between hope and readiness. It was about maintaining a positive outlook while being prepared to tackle the unexpected. By embracing this dual approach, Jack was confident that he could navigate the shadows and uncover the truths that lay hidden within. As the morning light bathed the city in a golden hue, Jack turned to Elena, a smile playing on his lips. "Ready for the next adventure?" he asked. His voice filled with anticipation. Elena returned his smile, her eyes sparkling with determination. "Always," she replied, her words echoing the sentiment that had carried them through countless trials. Together, they stood at the edge of the pier, ready to face whatever challenges the future might hold. With hope as their guide and readiness as their ally, they knew that the world of shadows would always offer new mysteries to unravel and new horizons to explore.